Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everybody, to a Tuesday stream. It is June 15th. Can you believe that we are officially midway through June? That is staggering to me. Although it's not even summer yet. Officially, summer is another 6 days from now. So, right now, I hope you're enjoying the very last days of spring before summer arrives. But it's good to see everybody, and welcome all to Adventures in Middle-earth Erebor Adventures, the adventure that we are calling of Hammers and Anvils. I hope you're all doing well, and looking forward to what's going to be a fun session today and a fun day overall of tabletop role-playing. And yes, we have a Channel Point Community Challenge, which has just happened. So please spread those points. Make those points happen. Please let those points go. I can't see it on Chatty, so I need to go find... I'm going to have to open up another page so I can monitor how the channel points are going. But yes, if you could use those channel points to the end of boosting the stream, that would be appreciated. Every time we get one of these, pretty much all but one time we've gotten this, and that one time was very early in this process. So, we usually have a couple of days to do it, but we've been doing it much faster as of late. So anything that people can do would be much appreciated. And Effect Life is here, and that means that I'm going to be able to read Effect Life's poem. Sorry, just writing a note. So yes, I am going to be able to read your poem, Effect Life. I'm very excited. That's going to be awesome. So, but it is good to see everybody here. I hope everyone's doing well. Before we get into introducing the folks, let me just remind you all a couple of ways to support the stream. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube, our Discord with !ArvCord, our Twitter with !ArvTweets, our website with arvaneleron.com. On the financial side, !ArvShop is the merchandise area where you can get Adventures in Middle-earth merchandise and also Infinity and Beyond merchandise and soon to be Esper Genesis merchandise. That area is under construction, but you can support us there with !ArvShop. !ArvTreon is the Patreon, sitting at 23 patrons per month, 23 patrons to 14 per month. And that really makes a difference. It allows you to support the channel, and it allows you to get custom things for you, custom characters, epic poems, one of which you will hear an example of in just a moment, and things like that, plus things that allow us to move towards various channel goals. So please consider supporting us over on the Patreon. It really does make a difference. Also making a difference is subscribing to the channel. So anyone who can sub to the channel, that is much appreciated as well. And I would love it if people could do that. You get those custom sub badges and emotes and inspiration to help the players, which you can get from the Patreon as well. And as always, on the publishing side, !Icarus for details about my silver medalist from the IBPA Benjamin Franklin Award winning Icarus, my graphic novel, done by Athos Arts. Athos is also the publisher of record for Greyshade, and that book is going to be coming out soon. And then there is a Kickstarter for the Greyshade universe coming out late summer, early fall. That's !Greyshade KS. While I'm on the subject of Athos, go support their Alia Terra Kickstarter, which is now charging forward over $8,200 the last time I checked, which is great. I would love to see them get to 12.5, which is when they can do illustrations for everything in the book. That would be great. So if you supported it already, thank you. If not, please do so. I think you have 9 days left, so keep up and keep going. And thank you all for the support of that. All right, see you, Lone Wolf. And that is going to bring us to !Greyshade KS and !Library, which is Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. Last address changes have been put in now, and so the stuff is being shipped out to Kickstarter backers and stores as we speak, which means it will be in retail soon, which is good not only for the Kickstarter backers, but also to start selling this book on retail, because I'm very excited about that. I am currently working on background for Hearthglow Academy, which was one of the Kickstarter fulfillment goals. I have to do that and a short story, and then we're good to go. So that's the deal with that. The Kickstarter, the Kickstarter for Alia Terra, Athos Arts' non-binary Romanian fairy tale and folktale set of stories is running. What Garlic Tofu just said. Greyshade Kickstarter isn't until late summer, but yeah. So that's the deal with that. Okay. And I think the only other thing I need to mention is !BLM, Black Lives Matter. Very important to affirm and assert. It's censored non-binary. Well, that's ridiculous. Maybe just do non-binary. I certainly, sometimes the auto mod stuff, that's out of my control. Twitch sets that. I certainly don't have non-binary as a word that is forbidden. That's crazy. Anyway, you added a space. Okay, yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. That's weird. So let me see. And then exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter, very important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. And exclamation point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Very important to reach out to others if you need help and to reach out to others if they need help as well. Now, quick note on schedule. Today we've got Adventures of Middle-earth Erebor Adventures going on. And then at 4 p.m. today, we have the premiere, the second premiere in less than a week, in less than 4 days actually, the premiere of D&D with GOG Ghosts of Saltmarsh. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's set in the world of Greyhawk. It's got all different characters. It's, and it's with the D&D with GOG crew, except not Tasty Chai, who's still playing with us in Talisman Adventures, but is not playing D&D with us. Instead, we have Inanda as that fourth member to join Pyron Jade, Peripheral Mike, and Darksaber 2K. So you will not want to miss that. It's going to be good times. It will be great. So that's the deal with that. They are also super. Yeah, weird. I don't understand what Automod was doing. That's really strange. So that's the schedule for that. Then tomorrow, Wednesday, we have got the first D&D with Community D&D, Dragon of Icespire Peak of the month. They will be back at you at 9 p.m. Eastern with Echo Alpha X5, with Triffidy Mats, with... no, I'm sorry, not Wednesday, before Echo yells at me. Thursday of this week, we'll have Community D&D, and that's Dragon of Icespire Peak with Echo Alpha X5, with Triffidy Mats, with Rockot and with Hoodie, and with Shadowed Mage as your DM. That's Thursday night. Friday, we have the rescheduled Esper Genesis, and then on Saturday, I believe we have some Neverwinter Nights 2 complete action that we got going on Saturday. So that's what we have happening, and it's going to be awesome and all that good stuff. Now, I'm going to unmute myself so the folks know we're ready to go. I will apologize to them for interrupting them because I still can't hear them until now. And then I'm going to unmute them, and I'm going to head over to reveal. The entire crew is here. Let me just pop up the... There we go. The map so you can see the entire crew is here. And I included them before I read this short little poem because Effect Life, who is one of the regulars here, not only is a big Patreon contributor, but also is responsible for our new ArvBot, not Arcanusbot, but ArvBot, which does our votes when we're doing the Fighting Fantasy game books. And of course, Terry knows all about that. So I have a poem, which I have written because that's what it is as part of the Patreon. So I brought it over because I wanted us all who are affected by it, and specifically Terry in this case, to be able to hear it. And Effect Life is in chat right now, and so I need to read it now because otherwise Effect Life is at bed during the normal night streams that I do. So this is that poem. I apologize to the Tolkien campaign crew, but I hope you'll forgive me. The Antoinauts, I hope you'll forgive me for just a moment while I do this, and then we will go back to that. So Effect Life, are you ready? Are you ready for your poem? Effect Life, are you prepared for the epic poem that you received because of your Patreon support? Are you prepared?
There's a difference between are you ready and are you prepared?
That's true. That's true. Ready, yes. Yeah, bring it on. All right. Okay. All right. So here we go. Effect Life. The wrecked life? Eclectic, deflect life? Or can we define a certain kind, connect life, as someone who right now is living his best life? If so, then Effect Life, through mayhem or much strife, stays same and consistent in all of his own life, remains not edgy or sharp like a blade knife, but calm. How I know this? Quite sure I can prove this? With ease. For unlike characters like that one Triss, deceiving Geralt from his well-earned Witcher bliss, Effect Life's a can't miss. Makes programs, feature lists, and then delivers while he's making a real tryst. He wants to make sure we can actually use this. And it's all his idea. No coercion with him. Indeed, he is so full of vigor and vim that he builds out a program just on a whim, just because, and I quote, it's fun for him. But that is not all. His achievements, not slim. He supports our Patreon too, and for him, he says that it's worth all the fat he must trim to make programs work to make money fit in. And that is perhaps the greatest surprise, that no matter what we here do, in his eyes, it's valuable stuff, a well-worthy prize, worth doing it right, all slick, smart, and wise. And since he has found us, his presence to rise, he's found no deception, no troubling lies within our community, family ties, and from that result, I must surely surmise that Effect Life belongs. Yes, indeed, our effect life has avoided the channels where rancor is still rife, and found a home here where we all live the good life. So bring out, yes, break out the drum and the fife, and celebrate once more the much-loved effect life. For even through all of the code he must midwife, he stays who he is, an Arvanaut for life, who we are most proud to declare Effect Life. There you are, Effect Life, your epic poem. I hope you liked it, and if so, I will send it to you, and if you don't like it, we'll never speak of this again. But that's the deal with that. So there you go, Effect Life, your poem as promised. And if people liked that and you're like, I wish I could have a poem like that written, there's a way. If you support the Patreon, like people like, for example, Amal has in the past, then you too can get an epic poem written for you. You loved it? Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you liked it. I will send it along to you, Effect Life. Just remind me, actually, I'm going to remind myself, send poem to Effect Life. Okay, now I remember. So anyway, yeah, so there you go.
The poems that you write for the Patreon supporters are fully as epic as the campaigns they join to support. So
thank you. Coming from you, that's a great honor. I appreciate that, Amel. Thank you. Yeah, I always have fun doing those. The hardest part was figuring out getting off the first one. Effect life? Like the question mark was literally me like, do I rhyme it with deflect? Anyway, so rhyme scheme is all part of it. But anyway, yeah, so thank you, Effect Life, seriously, for all the work on ArvBot Plus, which is really amazing. Like, Terry, the next time you see it, we do the Fighting Fantasy thing, you'll see like he put like a lot of work into it. It looks awesome. So anyway, so thank you, Effect Life, and thanks everybody. And with that said, I appreciate the indulgence of the Anjwanauts, and I will move on to introduce the first of them, who is of course the inimitable Mr. Trendane Sparks, who is right below me. There is light in his room. He seems more awake today, maybe because of light in his room, or he has bluffed it better, perhaps.
Yeah, there we go. I am an actor after all.
Oh yes, exactly. So, how have you been, Trent? How's life, and who are you playing today?
Tired, unsurprisingly. But it's been good. I still think I'm playing too much D&D.
I just don't believe that. That's just not a statement. How can
I used to agree with that. But when you sent the tweet and I had no idea what you were talking about, I was running through like the 3 or 4 different campaigns I'm involved in. I was like, when were we imprisoned? When did this happen? I don't have any memory of this. And who is he talking about? Longo's dead, or really, I mean, he's the one that's in. What is he talking about? Yeah, okay, so I finally caught up, and I don't know, but I'm waiting on John to send me to reply to my email in which I requested pronunciation guidance and a huge list of typos that I noticed. And once he sends me that thing, I can get started on the book I'm supposed to narrate. But in the meantime, the guys over at Escape Pod were like, hey, do you want to narrate this? I'm like, there's a tiger in it. Yeah, of course I want to narrate it. Are you kidding? So I get to start that probably this evening. But aside from that, yeah, it's gone really well. Our D&D campaign on Sunday, we actually got together in the same place.
Oh wow!
For the first time, and sat around a table and played. I'll
bet that was cool. I haven't had a chance to do it yet.
Good. Yeah, it was really good. My character, who basically talks like this all the time and doesn't really say much, but when he does, it's very quiet. He's a rogue, mastermind rogue. Fox character, and so he's always kind of analyzing and dissecting the way, and he basically just sat there quiet most of the episode. And my housemate, who's our DM, was like, God, I'm sorry, you were just sitting there doing nothing. I was like, it was fine. It was awesome watching those two, because their characters are kind of in love, but they're afraid to tell each other, and it just, oh my God, I love it so much. And they're both they're not stupid. I mean, their characters are, well, their players aren't either. Never mind. So, hi, I'm playing Thane Tonybear, the Hearth Mender, dwarf friend. And apparently we're in prison.
Yeah,
Um,
we're going to talk about how you got there too. That happened during
oh, good,
ArvCon when
good.
we were
That'll help.
raising a lot of money. Also, this is the first session I think we've had since then, so I can publicly thank the members of the Antonauts for helping raise money. As you probably know by now, we raised $7,000 to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation, which is amazing. And I know that you all, there was personal contributions there too, in addition to retweeting the stream and boosting the signal. So I'm really appreciative of that. So I mean,
Speaking of boosting,
all my players did amazing. Oh yes, and speaking of boosting, community challenge is going on right now, folks. So if you have community points, if you have channel points, please use those to help our community challenge. Also, just to pass this along, Amal, in case you missed this, Garlic Tofu had said that she's failed at finding the comic that you mentioned before and wanted to know what it's called and whether it can be ordered and like where it can be ordered and all that good stuff.
So it's called Tricksters #3 from Boom Studios, and you can order it. Let's see over here. Ooh, it says low quantity available now. That's very exciting.
you better get into that then quick.
There's this. So I will drop this link. This is for the. I can't tell if this is the digital order or not. I presume it will say if you actually like click through. But where did my? There it is. Yes. So here's the link to it, and it's funny because like the name of like the story is A Tale of Two Markets, but the name of the comic is Tricksters #3, I think. So because it's under the that series with Boom Studios for Jim Henson.
I approve.
I was just about to say, Tren, why have you not pre-ordered 6 versions of this by now already? Like,
Because my fox character is a cross fox. So he's a melanized fox. So he's black with red markings instead of red with black markings.
Okay. I feel pretty confident saying that you will enjoy the depictions of anthropomorphized fox in this comic.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the fox is fine, I have to say.
I have no doubt.
It is wonderful to me because this is absolutely like a comic that, my mom is telling like her siblings, my aunts and uncle and stuff, that like this is something that Amal wrote that you'll enjoy on it, like as opposed to Time War and stuff. And it's because it is like it's a fable, it's a fable, and it's illustrated, and it's not it's not written in a sort of densely lyrical way and stuff like that. And the art by Issa Hansen is stunningly beautiful. So yeah, but I just love the fact that it's like kid friendly and also trend friendly, I feel.
I like how those are distinguished in your mind.
Yes, they should be. Yeah.
It's just but anyway,
multitudes.
Well, sometimes I mean I did like Jim Henson's story. Anyway, so but the other thing is that Brad.
Yes. But there you go, Garlic. And we will answer that. Once I'm done introducing everybody, we will be able to answer you a little more, Tomasz Shizaka, about starting up creating your first character, because I'm sure players do have tips about that. But as I move on down the line, let me welcome in, as always, Brad Bollier. Brad and I were exchanging house maintenance stories in the green room beforehand, so we're feeling the, it's not pain exactly, it's just, adulting, right? It's all about the adulting thing. But Brad, how are you? How's life with you in general? And who are you playing today?
Good. I am playing Bolo Tuk, a excitable hobbit who has just been introduced to the wide world of adventuring. And if he ends up talking a lot about ovens, maybe cellars for cooling things, it's because I personally am going through a minor renovation in my kitchen.
There's gonna be like a half hour just like subdivided thing where you're just like, well, suppose it was part number 65, and everyone's like it's gonna be interesting to see how it happens. But it is,
I'm gonna find a pot-bellied stove store right in Dale.
I've decided
to just wander through the showroom.
Right. I've decided to convert the battered mug into its own pot-bellied stove franchise. And
come upstairs, yes, and look for our showroom.
Yeah, exactly. But always a pleasure to have Brad with us, and also always a pleasure to have the amazing Terry Tunes with us. Terry and her antlers today, the antlered headset extraordinary combo and all that. How are you, Terry? How's life on your end, and how are you doing, and who are you playing today?
A bit tired, but aside from that, I'm okay. Just, you know,
Yeah.
summer heat and stuff. So just, who needs energy anyway? I mean, like the last week, I went to the doctors where they measured my blood pressure, and they had to measure twice to make sure that it's really as low as it said. So
If we could average our 2 blood pressures, Terry, that would be good because I'm a
yes,
bit
probably.
high.
Oh,
Also, have you watched Sweet Tooth on Netflix?
I have. Yes, we just finished
I
watching
heard good
it
things
this
about that.
weekend. Yes, no spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no, the headset has nothing to do with that. I already had antlers as a thing.
Yeah,
Like, it's in my coat of
okay.
arms.
That's Terry following the crowd.
Yeah, right. No, no, I just made this on a whim, like on Friday or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm playing, actually. Thane Inge Homefinder, daughter of Ida, Council of Dine II. She is a dwarf of the Erebor. And she is a wanderer and a stonemason. And as Tren tries to remind me every time, even though I never forget, actually, just always save it for last, is that she has a trusty pony sidekick named Lilleman, who is actually around currently.
That's right. Who is
Yes.
because
we actually left the town like after 50 sessions.
It was true. It was true. The heroes of Dale who were spending their whole time in the urban setting known only as Dale. But yes, Lilleman is around, and that means we didn't get a chance for Tren to remind you about it having plot armor. So I assume that means that Lilleman no longer has plot armor. So that's good to know.
No, he does have plot armor.
Just going to make a note to myself. I
do.
can't hear you. You're breaking up. I'll just make a note.
Lilleman no longer has plot armor. Instead, has plot escape tools, and is going to come rescue us all.
Yes, plot lockpicks, as it were.
Exactly.
Outstanding. I am looking forward to that. No, it is always a pleasure to have Terry with us, who also does the illustration streams on here, and I look forward to seeing how Inga proceeds today. And that is going to bring us down, last but certainly not least, to Amel, who, as we just found out about, as a comic. And I'm a little frustrated that it's already sold out because I can't even get over there now already. Like, just, you know.
Is
So,
it already sold out?
well, yeah, because there are
it's
only
gone.
a few left, and then you told everyone, and now people in chat ordered it, and now it's over. So, you know.
Wait, what? Really?
So that was a great comic. Good stuff. Thanks a lot. Thanks
I'm
a lot.
pretty sure you can still order it. From
It says unavailable, so
Really?
Yep.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
so great. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
sucks.
Yeah,
You're just
thanks.
gonna have to
Thanks,
narrate
Amel.
narrate the whole comic to us. Like, all right, imagine a great picture here. Here's the words I wrote. Now imagine another great picture.
First of all, you could probably still get it digitally, and second of all, your local comic book shop probably has some.
Ooh, that's
I
actually
doubt
true.
it.
I do have a
They
local
do
comic.
usually carry this particular series, so I would not be surprised if there were some single issues left. And I have to say also, I didn't shout this out, but like there's a variant cover by Danny Pendergast that is also stunningly beautiful, and that would be quite cool too.
Oh, that's cool.
And at the end of the year, it will be collected. Like in November, I think there is a I can't remember if it's hardback or trade paperback, but there will be like a volume collection of all 4 issues of the Trickster series in a Hansen book, which is the way that they've done the other ones. So if you wanted to get all 4 issues, each one being written and drawn by a different team, you can do that. And I'm pretty sure it comes out in November, so you can probably pre-order that from now by poking around on Boom Studio's site as well.
Very cool. I will have to check that out. What do you mean you don't have a local comic book shop, Hillness? What? Listen, man, the state of Indiana has a local. What? What is wrong with you people?
It closed down like 10 years ago, which was before I moved here.
Oh,
Then there used to be a comic book, which my grandpa used to take me to actually when I was little. So that's
man.
extra sad. Yeah.
And I think we had one here until the pandemic, and then they had to shutter and couldn't maintain throughout the lockdown. So
this is where we discover that there are no local comic book stores anymore. It's like they're all gone. Like, oh man. Amel, who are other than that? Who are you playing today, and how's life with you, and all that kind of good stuff?
Just checking, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little quiet. I was going to say. Tomashki is pointing that out, that you're a bit quiet.
Oops, I will try and fix that. But yes, so I am playing a character called the River, who is a woodsman of Rosgobel. And she is a fighty bard. She is very deft with 2 axes, and also has a trusty sidekick, this guy named Stone, who is a hound of Mirkwood and just the best good boy. Also has lots of plot armor. Several degrees of it. Much. It's very
Yes,
good dog.
Stone actually has taken it on the chin for the animal members of the party quite a few times, actually. Although we all remember that terrible moment when Lillimon stumbled and hurt his leg, and that was something which traumatized Terry for multiple sessions. So this is
Still
what
traumatized,
happens, right?
actually.
Did you see the tension in the mouth there? Yeah.
It's like never forget has the date on her wall and everything. It's you just don't want that. Anyway, it is a great pleasure to have this whole crew back, and let us get some music fired up and talk a little bit about what happened in our last session when indeed, as despite Trent not remembering this, someone was imprisoned, and by that someone I mean the party. Let me see. Let's put on some ominous music.
Dun, dun, dun.
There we go. So in our last session, and I'm sorry, just quickly, because I promised I would answer this question. Very quickly to that, I would say Tamashisaka, and I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. The best way to think about, and players can certainly answer this in chat via text if they like, but I would just say very quickly that the best way to create a character, first of all, is to get a sense of what you yourself, what kind of character you'd be interested in playing. You can sometimes use touchstones from movies, from TV, from books, things, characters that have inspired you or have interested you. And I would like to play something like that. Not that character, but something like that. And once you've done that, then you can, there's something which can mechanically accommodate you. But the first thing is to find a character that interests you. And that can often be something outside of your comfort zone. I've never thought in real life I could do X, but I'd like to play a character that does X in the game or something of that type. That's extremely general advice, which is as much as I have time for at the moment. But yeah, others can certainly give tips.
Hey, you could come into the official channel server on Discord.
That's right.
Get a lot of advice there.
That's a good point. And thank you for bringing that up. Yes, if you type in !Arvcord, which was recently reconfigured and organized very well by both Elvin Marinen and by Terry Tunes. So you should check that out. !Arvcord will help you with that.
Can I actually just quickly say,
sure.
Where character creation is concerned, one of the things that I find is like a pitfall of, if you've never done this before, the thing that I certainly did when I was starting out was to try and make a character who was like good at everything, who,
right.
you kind of, the idea of like failing in a game at something is really scary sometimes, and so you want to make sure that your character can do all the things and stuff. And I actually find that it's much more interesting if you have a character who has some very firm limitations of things that they can't do, and figuring out the things that they can't do can be like as interesting a path into playing a cool character, a really fun character, as like figuring out what they're good at. So if you think of it in terms of like, what are they actually really bad at, that can sometimes be really generative. And especially because like that's where conflict and tension and stuff tends to come from. It's not so much what they're good at, but what they are not so good at, and then overcoming those things or finding ways around them can be really fun.
Yep, that's quite well said, and that's also a note which is important. I can't imagine why Amal would know anything about this, but from writing point of view, and we have a few of those on this stream at the moment, writers also know that characters are interesting and arguably only interesting when they have flaws in some way, and when they have something which gives them not only obstacles to overcome, but sharp edges that they may or may not want to smooth out, and sort of working with who they are rather than just trying to fix everything and make it better, just trying to manage who they are and to present who they are in a way that is reasonable for them and the people around them. That's also really fascinating, and I think the role players that you'll see on this campaign and the other campaigns that we have on this channel will show that, because I think, though I'll admit to be biased, that we have the best role players on Twitch on this very channel doing campaigns like this. So you should watch this and you should see. And humanizing them in a sort of way is exactly right. It's actually just making them human, even if they happen to be, let's say, dwarves or halflings or bjornigs, or wolves.
Yeah, no, the problem is when you play a dwarf, you are just perfect by default. So,
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, I forgot about them. But other than dwarves.
And like, I super won't belabor this, but there are also some systems where the design of the game is like encourages you to probe those limitations. Like,
Yes.
think of something like Powered by the Apocalypse games,
Yep.
like something like Monster Hearts and stuff like that. You gain experience when you fail a roll. So like there is a sort of incentive towards trying to, not like always trying to fail, but taking risks, doing things that like there's always a bit, like instead of rolling a d20, you're always rolling 2d6. 7 to 9 is a mixed success, and so most of your successes are mixed. But anything below that's a failure, and that's where you actually gain experience. That's how you develop as a character. So different games can approach the creation of character and the exploration of character differently. But within a D&D setting, I think that's kind of, you have to sort of figure out your own path, as it were, into limitations for your characters.
Yep.
Well, and I feel like I'm on a panel now, writing gaming and stuff. But what I'll say, I really like what Amal said about the things that you're not very good at, because it's true of characters in a writing sort of setting as well, but in role playing in particular. It's a group effort, right? And so you don't want to be good at everything all the time. You want other people to have their time in the limelight as well, and then you will have it too, and then you'll step back, and then other people will step in, and it's part of the fun of interacting with the group.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all super well. That's all super well said. We should totally do panel discussions on how to make character creation. It would actually be fun at some point to have, because we haven't done that, I think, for this campaign, to do like kind of an AMA QA type of thing where players, you folks have a chance to talk about your own characters, thoughts about different things that happened, and also about gaming more generally. So we're going to get into
that when we have our next what is that phase?
Fellowship phase.
Fellowship phase.
Yes, that's that. We might do something like that. So thank you, Thomas Isaka, for thinking of all that, getting us thinking about that, and also for following. Let's talk a little bit about what happened in our last session. As all of you who have been following this campaign will know, the Heroes of Dale, as they are now known, have been spending quite a bit of time trying to unravel some conspiracies within Dale. And one of those conspiracies that they've been trying to unravel, at least most recently, is who was responsible for the attack on the famous Balin of the original company of dwarves that went to the Lonely Mountain and ultimately challenged Smaug and were part of the Battle of Five Armies, etc. So Balin was attacked. There was an attempted assassination of Balin, and the party managed to find him, and then Balin, after faking his own death, was able to gather information, a little bit of information, and asked for the party's help in gathering more about who was responsible for the attack and who might be behind the gradual deepening of the rift between the dwarves of the Iron Hills and of Erebor to a lesser degree and the people of Dale, and what exactly it is that's causing this rift, and is someone attempting to do it for their own devious purposes. Spoiler alert, that's usually why it's happening. It's not just naturally happening, but hey, who knows for sure? We'll figure it out. So the party went around in the last few sessions and has tried to gather information about this by talking to several people. One of the leads they had was that a person on the way up to Dale, during which they found Balin, there was a ship, a strange-looking ship, which went by them at a great pace down the river. And later on, they found that the group of people on that boat was the same group of people that had attacked Balin, and that boat had been stolen from the docks here at Dale. And so what the party did in gathering information was discover that at one point, the crew of that boat was speaking to two men that were dressed in red livery. There were not a lot of those who wear red livery within Dale, but the ones that there were three that they knew of. Thane Oscar, who happens to dislike dwarves intensely because he blames them for the destruction of Esgaroth and his own fortunes. The party went and saw him and found that indeed he is bigoted against dwarves, but not necessarily the suspect that they were looking for. Then they went to visit Brynny, Lord of Strandberg, a deeply well-rounded and thoughtful, he was a foppish, obnoxious, and self-absorbed type who spent most of his time admiring his own pictures. I can't imagine any recent leaders of American vintage who could relate to this. But in any case, the party went and spoke to him and ultimately discovered that although he was a fop and all the things that I just said, didn't quite seem like the type of character that would fit this description either necessarily. And so they were approached by a messenger, Gunvar, Lord of Ashbrook, who was the last one on that list that the party had the red livery, lead that was related to. They went to his home, which was in Ashbrook, about an hour outside of the walls of Dale. And when they went there, they met Gunvar himself, who, and I think I have a picture for Gunvar. Let's see, Gunvar is right. Nope, that's the wrong thing. That's what I meant to do. There's Gunvar here. And Gunvar, at Gunvar's house, which is right there. Gunvar, once the party had... Hold on a second. Oh, this is not going to work. Why don't you... Stupid thing. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get the picture adjusted. I'm doing something new in OBS chat, and I haven't figured out how to make it work yet entirely, but I'll get there someday. Okay.
You considered asking it nicely.
Oh, God, so many times, I can't even tell you. Okay. At Gunvar's home. So the party, in meeting with Gunvar, discovered that Gunvar actually had a proposition for them. Gunvar explained that he felt that the rule of Dale, and specifically, of course, Lord King Bard's rule, had failed as of late, that Bard was too obsessed with things beyond his own rule, and that Bard had allowed Dale to, in Gunvar's words, become weak, that he was too busy dealing with the dwarves and not busy sort of building up Dale. Dale for Dale's sake. Make Dale great again, all that sort of thing. And so the party decided. And so the party, yep, I know. Listen, you should have seen what it was monogrammed on the livery. No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. The party learned of this, and Gunvar said, "So, if you are willing to join me in my cause, we can restore Dale to its former greatness." The party rejected this, I would say utterly is a good way to put it, although somewhat tactfully, and explained that this was not what the party was interested in doing, whereupon the party was captured, obviously as part of a pre-planned arrangement, where his guards basically took all of the party. If you won't join us, then you will be taken aside and sidelined while we go about our business of undercutting King Bard and attacking Dale, or at least that seems to be the plan. And so the party was led down to prison cells down below, although they did try to make some preparations ahead of time while being brought down there. For example, the river still has her belt dagger, I believe we said, and there are other examples of things that the party has tried to do in preparation. I know that Inga has many legs of quail, so I think we've got chicken legs. So we're all set to go with that. And so the party has been imprisoned and now needs to figure out a way to escape. And so as I hand things back over to the party, they are standing inside jail cells, which are on the bottom floor of Lord Gunvar's home. Lord Gunvar himself has headed off, and the last thing the party heard was a mustering horn, which suggests that the troops are being gathered for whatever this attack is that's about to happen. And so I'm going to hand things now over to the party inside their separate cells. Stone also is inside his own separate cell. It should be noted, River. So everyone is in their own separate cell. Lilliman, I believe, is actually in a stable above. So Lilliman is not in a cell. Lilliman is in a stable above in the home at that last check. But that is where we are. And now I'm going to hand things back over to the party. What would you like to do? And also remind me as you're saying that, I know about the river, and I know about what we just said about Inga. I don't remember what Tani and Bolo had chambered and ready to go. I know you did something that you were preparing as you were being led down to the prison cells, so please remind me what that is.
We created a diversion, and then I when that happened, I had planned to sort of escape.
Okay.
But they watched, the guards were ready for it.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Were eyeing me closely at that moment, so it didn't work.
Okay.
That was the plan. That was my plan. That was foiled. So I'm just in my cell, I think, at this point.
Okay.
I have no tactical consideration for this. I just thought that Stone and River would be in the same cell.
Aww. Sad.
Everyone feels bad now.
Yeah.
There's
It just makes no sense to put him in a separate cell. Why would they do that? He's just
there's a scene in Star Trek 3 that Arv is familiar with when Kirk says, "Beam the boy up too," and he says no, and Kirk says, "Why not?" and Krug says,
I'm sorry. I was literally organizing something when you said that. What? Ken? I'm sorry. You softballed it for me, and I wasn't ready for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the scene, the planet is breaking up, and Commander Krug is like, yeah, blah blah, and Kirk says, "Beam the boy up." Krug says no. Kirk says why. Krug says,
What are we? What are you? From what is this? I know it's from original.
Star Trek 3.
From Star Trek 3. I don't remember what he says. Sorry. I love the Star Trek movies, but I don't remember. Star Trek 3 was not one of the ones.
He remembers Commander Krug's line, or Kirk's line, "I've had enough of you."
I've had enough of you. Yes.
But he doesn't apparently remember, "Because you wish it."
Oh, because you wish it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Yes, now I remember. I should know that too.
Terrible man.
Yeah.
What an awful person.
Played by
Ark would
Christopher
never-
Lloyd, by the way.
Yeah.
Ark
Oh.
would never be that terrible and awful. So obviously he would never deny me the desire to have my character with her dog in a cell because I wish it. He would never do that.
And yet he has.
So
New characters then.
So about
Aw.
no. No, but I do want to actually make a point, not mechanically, but that you've noticed about this, which is, it is definitely the case that this, both from Bolo's not being able to do what you had originally planned to do, and the fact that Stone has been separated, and the fact that Lillimon is up in the stable. I mean, maybe that makes more sense because that's where you would put a pony, but still, this all seems as if a lot has been planned ahead of time with a deep understanding and knowledge of the party's general demeanor. Now, you are certainly not private figures anymore. You have been public heroes for some time, but it does indicate that someone has been observing how you operate. I say, for no desire to build paranoia whatsoever. And
So-
now,
Why would a DM want to do that?
I don't know
That
why.
would be just weird.
So Tawny from his cell calls out,
Do you think if I shout "it's a dream" loudly enough, we will just be somewhere else?
Worth a try, maybe, while you hear like munching sounds.
I should say, by the way, that your cells, just so you know, I don't have a picture of this, but your cells are, what they've done is they basically have a row on each side of a hallway, basically, of cells, but they've staggered your placement in them. So, River, you were in the farthest one, then right across from you is just an empty cell. Then down the line one is Tawny, and then across from you is nobody. Also, that means nobody's next to the river. And then like that. So if you can imagine it being like, sort of every other on alternate sides of this hallway, that's where you were all placed. It is damp stone. The air does not seem particularly fresh down here, you note. And there is some raw and moldy straw. There's a bucket of pretty brackish, probably not very good to drink water that you can see in this stall. And that's pretty much it. Nothing in the way of a mattress or a bed or, anything else, and certainly no windows to the outside.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Suddenly, someone comes in holding coffee.
I love it. Thank
Brings
you.
you tea inside of yourself.
Yes, I'm trapped in a cell, but you have actually literally was because I had like blocked the door because it was
because the
badly-
ghost opened it a minute ago.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that again now, not realizing that I had
What a nice jailer.
that I'd prevented my darling husband from bringing me tea. But you just is the best. Can we just have a moment of appreciating how perfect and wonderful my husband is?
Sure. Here we go.
Okay?
There you go.
All right, there's your moment.
I
Moment
feel
gone.
like he's given me inspiration.
I, as I always say, I appreciate aspirational role playing. What a shame that it does not actually get delivered in the way you would hope. But yes, so that is what you know. Also, there is one guard who is on the other side of the on the other end, basically, of the hallway down from where all of you are placed, who is currently standing, sometimes facing you. You can't really look out and see him, but you know that every so often you hear him moving, so he's down somewhere on the end of the hallway.
Like, can you describe what the cells themselves look like? Are they like steel bars, or what's going on?
They are iron bars. They are about probably 5 by 5. They are pretty small. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. 8 by 8, maybe.
Big bars.
8 by 8. Let's say. It's a
8
very
by 8 meters. Those are large.
yeah, not meters. No, 8 by 8 feet. Very small cell.
5 by 5. That's spacious for me.
Pretty. That's true for you. It's good, but
Bigger than most Manhattan apartments.
this is a good point. This is a good point, and it's considerably cheaper. So there's that. Yeah, I know the feel. So yes, 8 by 8, and the ceilings are pretty low. Maybe, I mean, it's you have to basically stoop a little, Tawny, to fit inside. Okay, like it's not
And
super
no
comfortable.
stretching my arms.
I'm doing jumping jacks.
No chance. Yeah, exactly.
I can hear that, Bolo.
Everything sounds fine.
Settle down in there.
Is
There's
there
room to
daylight?
move, right, guys?
Exactly.
Is there daylight coming in from anywhere?
No,
That we can
no
see?
windows
Okay.
here.
Really? So it's quite dark, you say?
That is true. It is quite dark.
Oh,
There's
if
one.
only,
There is
if
one
only we had
torch.
dark vision.
There is one
If
torch.
only we had somebody with dark vision.
That's true. There is one flickering light that seems to be down where the guard is. So there is that. But that's pretty much it. Nothing in the cells.
So I just want to remind everyone that we can invoke the name of Elbereth in a dark place once per adventure
Yes.
and gain inspiration.
Yes. Quite
What
accurate.
counts as once per adventure?
We haven't done it yet in Erebor. It was once per
Well, yeah, adventure. So
thing-
section. We
the thing that is demarcated by a fellow.
Once per journey phase.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, once per
Ah,
journey
okay.
phase. So you're in of hammers and anvils right now. When you get to the next one, if you ever do, no, that will be the moment.
So evil.
I'm just the guy. I'm just the messenger.
That was junior varsity evil.
Wow.
Yeah, so everyone, well, actually, I'm not sure if Bolo does because he wasn't part of that same situation. But the three of us, Tawny and the River and Inga can do this. So there's that. Just gonna throw that out there. But it's also dark, which presumably means that those of us who can melt into the shadows probably could do that.
Is Bolo like because he's tiny, right? Does he fit through the bars?
He's not that tiny.
If you push
Aw.
hard enough, yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, not quite. He and also I would remind everyone he has been spending quite a bit of time working on the battered mug's food conditions, and that has a certain impact sometimes on one's
So he's
structure.
full now.
Where
If they
hobbits
can
come.
fit their head through something, they can fit the rest of their body. That's
Yeah, I know.
Is that how it
Did I
goes?
mention how it's half jellyfish?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
I was about to remind everybody about a certain famous hobbit who once escaped a mountain when by breaking the buttons on his vest when he squeezed through. But
Mhm.
that
Beautiful brass buttons.
the beautiful
yes.
brass buttons. But that door itself was wider than what you'd get with these bars. So sadly, no, not so much. I should say too that the iron bars, just Inga, because you asked, from your quick inspection of them, they look to be in decent shape. Now they're not like nothing will ever conquer these. I mean, they're not like that, but they definitely look as if they've been maintained so as not to rust, and so they don't look brittle in any way.
It'd take a lot of saliva to
Yeah, exactly.
acid etch through those things.
I will. So just want to get a sense of the layout. So we were marched down a staircase,
Correct.
right? And there's this hallway now,
That's right.
and the cells are staggered.
Yeah, there's cells on both sides, just right next to each other, but you are placed
We are
staggered so that the cell apart, like aside from you, on the other side of the hallway from you, and next to you are both empty.
Gotcha. So next question then is: the guard is close to the stairs or close to the end of the hallway?
The guard is close to the stairs, which is itself the end of the hallway. So basically, Yeah. You are on one end of the hallway where there's just a brick wall. There's just a stone wall, that's the end of the hallway. On the other end is where the guard apparently is, and that is where the stairs were that you came down.
And have you decided what the order is of us? I have reasons for asking.
I have.
Okay.
So, oh God, if I try to, here we go. Arv and drawing.
There,
No, it's fine. It's fine.
You could just describe it again and I'll draw it.
What do you know about drawing? No, okay.
Nothing, honestly.
I'm going to put this.
I have actually no idea what I'm doing.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this just quickly on the map so you can see it, and then you can draw a good version of what I'm doing, Terry. So on roll 20, so you see I just put an R. That's where the river is. Then we have.
Wait, what? We are still looking at the city map. Just
right.
saying.
Yes, I know. Look at the top right,
okay.
and you'll see right. I'll ping it for you. Right here. Okay.
Why don't you just put us on an empty map?
Well, because then I have to put a new page, and it's just faster. Okay. Okay. So we have the river, who's
One
up
click.
top right. We have Tawny Bear, who's down and to the left, I guess you might say. Then down here, we have Stone. Over here, we have Bolo. Down here, we have Inga. And 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. So that's what we have.
Great.
That's basically what it looks like.
Excellent. This is what I was hoping.
Wait, so where's the door?
And the door is down here. Although, as I pointed out, none of you can really see. Like, you can see the torch flickering, but you can't look out far enough to be able to see it. Just, but you do, Inga, you're definitely the one closest because you can actually hear the guard moving around every so often, clearing his throat, stuff like that.
So I think, here's what River would do, essentially.
Okay.
So she's farthest away. They're in darkness. And I think what she would do is call for the guard, essentially. And say, "Hey, guard.
What do you want?
I want to talk with you.
So do the talking then."
My voice is a priceless instrument. I would actually rather you came closer, rather than shout down this hall.
I don't see what the difference is between shouting. You're not going to be using your voice for much of anything for a while.
Really? Why don't you tell me more about that? It sounds very exciting.
All I know is that we're guarding you here, and when they're done, you'll then have your next instructions given to you. You should have gone along with Lord Gunvar. He would have been the right leader for you. Now...
Why do you follow him?
He pays the bills on time, for one thing, and he's got the right idea for Dale. Dale can't suffer weakly giving in to every other race that exists in Middle-earth. It's about time Dale recognized who founded it. Humanity, for humanity's sake.
Brief answer to that, River, is greed and stupidity.
While they are talking, Inga would like to start turning the bones from the quail that she was nomming on into some makeshift shifts. Shifts? Not shifts.
Shivs.
Shivs.
Oh, shivs.
Shifts. No, shifts are is a piece of clothing. Sorry.
Okay, so some makeshift shivs. Okay. All right. I think you can start doing that. I'm trying to think if there's a...
No.
What?
I was just thinking a swift stride shift of
Oh, no.
shamanship.
Oh, man, Rob's character is just like, what is this? He sells seashells. So the only thing I'm trying to decide is whether or not there's a roll I need you to make for that, Terry. Probably not. I think Inga would probably be able to do that. Although...
It's chicken bones. They're super brittle.
Yeah. Well, but remember, though, I would point out that when they are just out of the chicken, they are, when they're damp, they're much more rubbery. So if you think about like when people in America, they have this tradition where you pull the wishbone, but they always wait to do that until it's dried. So that's why I'm inclined, and you literally just took this out of the quail. So I think what I'm going to have you do is You're doing this using your, because they didn't actually they took most of your goods and stuff from you, but they didn't take, I would say, your
Tools.
Well, they definitely took your
They would
stone
have
tools.
taken the
They took your
tools,
stone
yeah.
tools. I'm trying to think if they would have left you anything. I mean, they left the belt dagger, but that's because they didn't find it. I'm trying to think if you would have had anything.
Like the thing is, like Inga has a backpack and the saddlebag, so most of her gear is usually on Lilleman,
Yeah.
unless she makes a point out of taking it along.
So how about this? Go ahead and think about how you might look around your cell and find something that's usable, and I'll entertain a pitch for it. In the meantime, River and Tani/Bolo, what are the rest of you thinking about in terms of how you want to coordinate? I mean, River, do you want to continue the back and forth with the guard, or like what's your...
River would like to basically draw the guard towards her and... Oh, wait, okay, actually, so, okay. There are two reasons she would do this, and one of them I want to be sure about whether or not, like... Did we decide whether Inga had actually told the rest of them that she can open locks?
I don't think you had mentioned it yet. This would be an interesting time to do it.
She probably hasn't.
Okay,
I don't know.
The other reason is just like basically, I'm just reminding myself where. Yeah.
While you look that up. Oh no, then go ahead if you found it.
Okay, no, I was gonna say, so like, you know, Bolo and Inga are the ones closest to the guard right now. River would like to lure the guard closer to her, away from them, since Bolo in particular can, you know, melt into the darkness and stuff like that. So, you know, there are bluffy things she would try and do to the guard. Also, she's real mad at the guard, and so would just like to, you know, berate whoever is there. But yeah, so that is mostly what she's interested in, drawing him to like pay attention to her.
Okay. And so go ahead, Brad.
I just have a question. At any point, does the guard come close enough to my cell for me to filch? I have a filch.
The guard has not moved yet, but if you, but like as the guard is moving closer to you, if the guard does so, you can certainly do that.
Okay. I'm sort of waiting for that opportunity. Just,
okay.
You know, I'm sort of at the bars.
Okay.
Actually, I'll be back a little bit, just so he'll feel more comfortable approaching my cage.
Okay. And also I should say that Terry, as of course, has an excellent representation of it here, with one exception, which is just that the stairs start further down the hallway. So the guard is more like here, so that you can't quite see the guard. Also, that's where the flickering torch is coming from. And as you see it moving around, it does seem to you, likely all of you, that the guard is actually holding the torch, probably, rather than it being in like a sconce on a wall or something like that.
The other thing I would do, I mean, especially again because River is so far away, how big are these locks? Like, is using the belt dagger to pick a lock something that I can attempt to do?
I would say you could definitely attempt to do that. The, you know, locks, as I said, like the bars themselves, the locks look like they're reasonably well maintained, but they're not like, you know, spectacularly the most secure prison in the history of all recorded time. So you could certainly do that. However, River, it is going to make noise.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so like what Inga would have on her person is her gold coin.
Okay.
From Smog's Hoard.
Yep.
That none of you know about, by the way.
This is a revelation.
Secret.
the session of revelations. How could you have it? You know?
And she might, if you allow it, like remember when we found the shale, like many sessions ago. That Inga made some shale arrows from. She might find a stray piece of shale in her pocket.
Sure,
somewhere.
I'll buy that. Absolutely.
So I have no idea about how well you can turn a chicken bone into a shiv with the help of a gold coin and or a piece of shale.
Much easier with the shale.
The ultimate MacGyver moment.
I mean, the shale and the coin both seem like they might be more sharpenable objects than the bones. You do have like a lot of stone around you to sharpen something on, but
Oh, that's right. Like the walls should be made from stone, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I could
that would be the
just
case.
sharpen
That would be the case,
the bones on that. Yeah. Okay. So then Inga's got to do that as soon as she like notices the guard not paying attention to her, basically.
Okay. And Tani, anything in particular that you are that you're doing while you're
Well,
waiting?
like I said, with Amal. So I'm thinking that he's trying to figure out a way to work with the river to try to coax the guard. That's why he said greed and stupidity when she said, "Why do you follow him?"
Right.
And he basically said the TLDR is he's dumb and he wants money.
He doesn't. Wait, Tony still have a staff? He doesn't, right?
No, they took it from me.
They took that. Okay.
They let me in with it
Right.
because they failed their check. But
Right.
as soon as we got in, the boss was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Get that away from him."
That's right.
Yes. I told you to forbid the Bjorning staff.
I just-
You're
totally
too
imagining-
blurry to talk to us, mister.
What?
We're gonna talk among
Oh, camera. Oh, camera.
I'm totally imagining just poking the staff out from under the bars and tripping someone. But anyway, so the guy is talking, revealing his horrible human supremacist bigotry and stuff. I think a few things are gonna happen roughly at the same time. I think
Okay.
I'm just looking at River's sheet again. So I have all my gift dice right now, all of my Warden's gift dice, and I've got cool. Just remembering things and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So, I think that River is going to start singing a song. And it's a song about Elbereth. And it goes, Oh, Elbereth, Gilphoniel, more fair than mortal tongue can tell, and so on. To invoke Elbereth and gain inspiration.
Okay.
And as she's singing, she's going to sing in order to sort of. There's layers here.
I was going to say loudly or softly as you're this stuff.
Oh, I think she's singing she's not trying to not be heard as she sings.
Okay.
But she is going to start attempting to pick the lock as she does that with the song of covering what she is doing. Okay.
So, let's see. I will have you make. I'm gonna have you make two. I'm gonna have you make you 2 checks to see how well this works. One of the checks is going to be a stealth check, because we're going to see whether or not you are successful at disguising your attempts.
Okay.
And then the second check, I think, is going to be what we would call a sleight of hand check, which is dexterity based, and that's going to be. I don't think you have proficiency in it just looking at your sheet, but sleight of hand would be the check that you did actually open the lock. Now, you can get inspiration from the Elbereth song on either one of those checks, but not both. Although, if the chat wished to inspire the river on the other check, then you could do the stealth check and use your inspiration, and then chat could give you one, if chat wants to do that. But I don't know if chat does. I mean, that's not in my
I will
purview.
be using the inspiration on the lockpicking, and the stealth one I will leave either to chance or to the chat.
Okay, so it's up to chat as to whether they want to, because the stealth is going to come first, so it'll be up to chat whether they want to inspire Amal and the river or not. I'll wait with bated breath to see.
In fact,
Dragon Spear has inspired you. So see, thank you, Dragon Spear. Dragon Spear has inspired River to commit a crime. I just want to be. No, I'm just kidding. It's like,
Be gay.
yeah.
Do
It's like,
crimes.
yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, here we go. So first of all, stealth check.
F the gun var with the yes. Well,
That's a 13 with
Okay.
the inspiration.
let's see. Fortunately for you, maybe fortunately for you, that is an opposed check, so we're going to see whether or not
Okay.
you heard that stealth check. So just give me 1 second. Okay, good. All right. Okay. You do not hear, the guard does not move in your direction. So apparently, the song, although Inga can definitely hear him sort of muttering to himself. He may not be wild about the song, about anybody singing.
It is an Elvish song. It's
Yes.
100% an Elvish song. So, yeah.
Good red-blooded American human songs. Sorry, Ted Nugent. All right.
All right.
Jesus, Ted
Wow.
Nugent.
Wow.
Oh
for
man,
fuck's
I'm
sake.
pairing it on a little too thick. Even
Oh,
this
my
guy doesn't like Ted Nugent. All right. So,
So that was one, and then inspiration on the other one. So sleight of hand.
okay.
That's a 21.
All right. My dice roller is giving me grief. There we go. 21. All right. No, you actually made a stealth check again. That's supposed to be a dex check on that second one.
It was a. Oh, that's weird. Well, I clicked sleight of hand.
It's okay. I'll allow it because it's the same bonus. But yeah, it was supposed to be dex. Do I want to know why there are green things?
Just figured
exploding
out I
out?
could do that. I didn't know that was a thing.
What? What green thing?
There were on the map. There were green.
Oh, illusions.
Yes. Sorry, move on.
Illusions. That's good squad.
Woo.
Oh man, the fun. Okay.
Oh, I can only do what? How do you do it? That's so cool. I want to do it too. Oh no.
Magic.
Focus.
Okay. So, so you fiddle with it for a bit, River, and then there is this satisfying, probably corresponding with a climactic moment in the chorus, and Elbereth, at the right moment, and the door clicks, and there's a slight as the door just opens the littlest bit.
Excellent. So excellent, great, good. She's not gonna exit now, but she is gonna enjoy yes. And God, okay. What's she gonna do next?
Did the guard walk over by now, or?
No, he's still where.
The guard is
I
still in the
think-
same place.
I think I'm about to tend to that.
Okay, good.
So I'm just wondering if she can. I don't actually. Can anyone else make a perception check to see if they could tell what she was doing? Like, I don't know if Tawny. Tawny being closer, I just wondering if he might have.
Yeah,
heard
you know what? I'll allow. I don't think anyone else could hear this except maybe the guard. Although, because remember that the guard doesn't have the walls between him and you, so it's a little bit louder to him. But I will allow Tawny to make the check because he's closer and opposite you.
Mhm.
So.
Right, because we can't actually make. We can't make. Can we make eye contact?
No.
No,
we're
can't make
kidding.
eye contact.
Cool.
Perception, you said?
Yes.
15.
Yeah, I would say that you hear some in between singing, some scraping, some
So I know she's doing something.
Yes, exactly. I don't know that you could tell for sure that she was picking a lock, but definitely doing something that isn't just sitting there and singing, or standing there and singing.
Cool.
Okay.
We'll just take a second. So yeah.
Okay. Just gonna bring Bolo on here because I couldn't find a token for some reason. All right, I'm gonna put Bolo in there so we have everyone locked properly. Okay.
He's down by the Doc, by the keys.
Oh, there he is. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was like, where the heck? Okay, I don't need to bring on multiple bolos. The world is not ready for multiple
No.
multiple bolos. Barely handles one. Okay, so
This is my cousin Jolo.
and YOLO, of course, YOLO.
Oh boy, yeah.
All right, so you're continuing to do that. The guard at a certain point says, "Oh, and do you keep singing, by the way, River, after you do the lock?"
Yes.
Okay. So at a certain point, the guard's like, "Hey, knock that off."
Oh, you don't.
That's where Tawny would jump in.
Huh. Okay, go for it.
So basically, I'm going to use this skill that I have not used yet. Had it for a little while.
Look at all these revelations. Like, oh, it's called really piss off imprisoner guy. Like,
Called Webs of Deceit.
oh wow, gee. All right, webs of deceit.
Oh, at 5th level, your insight and learning is sufficient to manipulate others with well-timed words or theatrics and cheap tricks. I do love Cheap Trick. It's a good band.
He starts singing, "I want
No,
you."
I will not start singing. Trust me, you want to keep your audience, not send them running for the hills. The
Run
haunted
the hills.
Your own
Wrong
fault for
bet.
bringing up Cheap Trick.
At the start of any interaction, you may make a wisdom test against DC of 15 plus the target's wisdom modifier. If successful, then at any point in the conversation, I gain advantage on any one skill check through my scholarship and preparation.
I see. All right, so then you're going to make an insight test, I guess now then. Oh, well, once you say what you're going to say. What is your interaction?
Yeah,
with
basically, he says something along the lines of,
It's okay, River. Don't worry.
that, and then there is a string of expletives that you don't want uttered on your channel. Basically, yeah,
Wildly shocked. Never having.
sounds a bit like Morse code. Yes. The Declaration of Independence in Morse code is what it sounds like. And it ends with, sack of goat dung is probably too tone deaf to appreciate any music, let alone Elven.
So Bolo and Ingo, Chris, you can hear this too, and it's like Tawny's voice booming down the hall with this incredible profanity. All right, make why don't you make an insight check from not insight. Insight check, and I will do the same against mine. So it's against a DC of 15 plus the target's wisdom modifier. All right.
You want inspiration?
20.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
Let's
That's
see.
fine.
All right, well, I am interested. I'm reminded, by the way. So my son's 5th birthday party was on Saturday, and we had family over. And and we got a big bouncy castle thing because I finally have a house big enough to actually do it's an obstacle course because he's obsessed with American Ninja Warrior, so doing all the obstacle course stuff.
Boy.
So he was he walks out, he's like, I love everything about my birthday. It was great. Anyway, so he was hanging with his friends. He was really cute. But the father of one of his friends though is a nice guy and actually likes fantasy, but was dropping F-bombs like nobody's been. I'm like, you're at a kid's party, my dude. Could you calm it down? He's just like, well, what I really love about that book was that mother bleep and this, bleep, bleep, and a blah. Calm it down. I mean, he seems like a very nice guy and a very loving father, but mouth like a sailor. Good God. Anyway, it just reminded me when you're talking about suddenly dropping profanity like no one's business.
Well, you mentioned American Ninja Warrior, whatever the thing is. I've never watched it, but a friend of mine in Russia was on the Moscow version of that and made it to
nice.
the finals. And he wears a tiger fursuit while he does it. So
that's very cool.
He is amazing. He's an incredible athlete. He's really good.
You have to be to do that stuff. Actually, American Ninja Warrior's Twitter account, I posted a tweet about my son doing something at the playground that looked kind of like the ninja thing, and they liked the tweet. They were which was pretty cool. Yeah, he loves it. I mean, listen, it's it's good, healthy competition, and it's he's like an energy dynamo, so he loves that stuff. Anyway, so I couldn't have asked him if he was a sailor. No, he's definitely not a sailor, but nice guy. But man, it's like George Carlin, at his worst, like this. Okay, so right, so I'm here to tell you that the guard didn't make that check. So he failed that miserably. So that means that you now get advantage on a skill check. So I think now the question is, what conversation on any one skill check? So I guess, are you trying to get him to do something now? Because that's presumably what you would use the advantage that you've just gained on, I would think.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get him to come down here.
Okay. So, are you just going to keep doing that with the swears? Like just more of this stuff?
Just insulting him in general. Just continuing to just shout obscenities at him and berate him and tell him horrible stories about what I've heard about his manhood, complete with the verbal quotes in there.
Make a deception check for me at advantage, please. Although I thought about intimidate, but but no, a deception, I think.
No, look, you don't know. People talk about this guy's manhood all the time. I know this dude.
Hey!
Oh.
Wow.
Take the 20.
Yeah. So he's like, you better shut your mouth then. You don't know what you're talking about.
Why don't you come down here and shut it for me, you? And then
Perhaps I'll do that. And he starts walking
like
this
a
way.
hummingbird. And
And he starts walking towards you. So now, Inga, you, I'm actually curious because yours is the first cell he passes. As he walks by, Inga, do you do the, like you know, the like I've got the bones below the thing I was working on behind my back? Or, in fairness, he doesn't seem to be paying any attention to you. He seems to be interested in going past you. But
yes. She's trying to
hide it. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought she might, but I wanted to check.
Also, I just remembered, is there like a bucket or a chamber pot or something in
There
the room?
is a bucket of brackish water in it. Yes. In the
Ew!
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Also, great improvised weapon.
Brackish water attack. Yeah. Like,
Well, I was more like
Warm
dual
up.
thief.
Shape up.
Shape of quickly evaporating steam. All right.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, how much ground is there to cover from one cell to another, and can it be done in one turn?
I would. I would say that probably you could. You could go. He could go down half the hallway in one turn because it's basically 8 feet, right?
Wait,
so you
with
figure
or without dash?
8, 16. Oh, without dash. If you're going, because he's going 8 feet, right? So 8, 16, 24. About 25 feet would put him about there.
Great.
So
next question: do the cell doors open out or in?
Cell doors open out.
Very cool. Very
Open
cool. Very
out.
cool.
Also, I wanted to. Oh, go ahead, Brad. Yeah.
Well, as he's passing my cell, I am preparing for a filch. If he's close enough,
Yep.
for me to do that, I'm going to try it. And, and I'm looking for keys first, weapons second.
Okay. Yeah, and I definitely was going to give you the shot to do that as soon as he passed your cell.
Okay.
I do want to
like an inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to be inspired, Bola, to do this?
An inspiration would be good.
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna do the thing with the checks. I think I've got 2 still this month, so.
While you're doing that, I want to. Yeah, there it is. While you're doing that, I do want to say hi to the Rising Tides, and I also want to acknowledge that Garlic Tofu points out that they just passed 8,500 on Alia Terra. That's great. You should keep this up. Again, for those of you who don't know, this is a set of 3 stories. They are a non-binary Romanian fairy tale / folktale set that are illustrated, coming out from Athos Arts, and which is my publisher for Icarus and Greyshade. And they just passed 8,500, and at 12.5, they will be able to fully illustrate, correct me if I'm wrong, Garlic Tofu, the entire book, which now has a hardcover option. So they've got about 9 days, I think, 9 or 10 days left. So this thing picked up again over the last couple of days. So if you are interested, please check it out because that is good things. And it's interesting, I have already backed the project myself. So go ahead and take a look at that if you are interested. And having said that, yes, now as he passes your cell, Bolo, you will absolutely have the chance to do that. To do that, and he is not paying a lot of attention to you. He seems pretty, face forward and annoyed. So he is in fact carrying, by the way, he has got a torch in his right hand and a shield in his left, and he's got a sword at his belt.
Okay.
Oh.
And do I see any keys? Do I hear them jingling as he comes along?
So what I would say
Have
is
a bag, a pouch, or
right.
anything?
So what I was going to say was I will definitely allow you to filch. I would normally say if you wanted to do the equivalent of a called shot, like I want to get his keys, then that would be a disadvantage. But because you've already been given an advantage, that would cancel out. So you can either basically take advantage and you will filch something at random, or you can take just a regular roll, but you'll be able to literally try for the keys because you think there probably is one, but it is kind of, there with the sword at his belt and the, so. Yeah.
I mean, taking the sword would also be pretty great. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Only a bit harder to do though. Let's be real.
Correct. Yeah.
He may notice.
You may notice it too. I was just about to say.
Quickly, where's the key? He may not. I'm gonna try for the key. I mean, I think that's what we need to get out of here. So.
Okay. So go ahead with just a regular roll then, not an advantage or disadvantage.
Okay. So sleight of hand.
While he's rolling that, just as a side note, my friend, the Russian dude that I was talking about, his location on Twitter is listed as Russian Mordor.
Wow. All right then. Well, that's listen.
Hey, Bolo!
Hey, and look at the 24. Wow. All right. So yeah, I would say you do and what you do is as you're going along, the torchlight just glints. It reminds me a little bit of everyone in this chat everyone in this player group will probably know the reference, I think. But and he saw the light glinting off everything, but not in one place. And then reaching out, you were able to grab this one bit of dull iron. And there's a little bit of a jingle, but not much. And fortunately for you, he is apparently really pissed off at Tawny Bear, who has been leveling the insults at him. I assume, by the way, Tawny, that hasn't stopped.
Oh, no.
I assume you've been just like, and another thing, you son
I'm
of
not
a...
going to compare his manhood to that of a hummingbird and just stop. Okay.
Right. Like, when I say that, let me describe it in detail. Yeah. So he's going on. So the guard is very pissed off, and you now have a set of very lovely looking iron keys.
Okay.
I'm going to ask what you're doing first, and then I'll go on to.
As he continues, and as the the sound of insults continue to rain down, I'm going to use that as cover to try. How many keys are there first?
There are a set of 5 keys on here.
And by he's got the torch. All right. So from I have thieves' tools as a skill expertise that I took at first level. Can I sort of use that to, because I want to try them, but I want to do it mindfully and try to pick the one that's most likely. So I'm not going jingle jingle jingle
yes.
jingle.
Let me have you
times,
make an investigation check because you're doing it with the thieves' tools in this case. I'll give you advantage on that.
Investigation.
So, yes. Well, better than the 6.
Maybe a couple likely
ones. I was just going to say, yes. What that does is it lets you narrow it down. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Echo. Community points, everybody. We're doing a community boost challenge. If you have channel points, please use them because we are closing in on trying to get a boost for this stream. So if you can use those channel points.
If you do, it'll be underneath the chat where you type in. It'll be right underneath that. You'll see the number of points.
You'll see the number that you have. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you, Trent. So, yes.
Wait, wow, that's a lot of channel points.
Yes.
Yep.
Use 2,000 of them right now. That's what I did.
Started.
Well, I have like 36K.
Click on the number of channel points that you have. It'll open up a small window.
Yes. Boost the stream.
There it is.
Yes.
Doing it.
But I was saving to get inspiration.
we have I think actually I need to double check and see whether we still have them or not. I want to say Triff had got one of them, but thank you for boosting everybody. So yeah, Bolo, you have narrowed it down to 2 options.
Okay.
So
I will as holding the other keys tight so they don't jingle, I'm going to try to fit it in the lock and turn it as things continue.
I will give you 1 chance now and then 1 chance in a moment. So I'm going to have you roll a 6-sided die. If you roll 4 through 6, you got it right. If you rolled 1, 2, 3, it's not accurate.
Okay. All right, what do? I /R 1d6.
6.
Nice.
So you're like click, and you again the door just slightly.
Okay.
And of course, you have to like, move your hand around to do it. So actually, one of the things that helped you is that because your arm is smaller, it's a little easier to do that. If Tani were trying to like get his arm around to the key, that would not have been so easy. So you're able to do it, and it opens slightly.
Okay. I'm just gonna hold off until he's further down the hall because I'm. Well, let me ask. As we entered this cell, did it creak like hell? The door?
It did squeak a little bit. I don't know that I'd say like hell, but it did squeak a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to wait until he moves a little bit further down the hall, and then when he gets close to Tani, I'm going to open it, but I'm going to lift it slightly as I go, just to ease that sound.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, and let's see. So, okay. I want to figure out a way to get that. I don't want those up there. Bear with me just 1 second. I want to get rid of this.
Oh, I just thought of another good one.
Another good insult.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Love it.
That's not right either. Okay, I'll figure.
Oh, it's
later.
right. It's absolutely the right thing.
Not talking about that.
Okay.
I see. All right. Okay. So yes, Bolo. So you're able to put that in, and you're gonna wait on that, and then the next thing is you hear a low growl as both the River and Tani do as he passes by what must clearly be Stone Cell, and he's like, "Shut up, mutt." He's really upset. And so he goes further, and now he comes over to you, Tani. Now, when he gets over to your cell and stops, so he is sitting back there. He's got the shield and he's got the torch. He definitely is not so angry that he's just going to be like, "What are you going to do about it?" and like walk right up to your cell. Like he hasn't left behind his senses completely. But he definitely looks very upset, and you can see the anger on his face as he holds the torch up, and he says, "So if you want to say that again, why don't you do it right here to my face and then watch as I burn your cell down? Be a shame if it was an accident, wouldn't it? Oh, I didn't mean to do it, I'd say, and they'd believe me too. You won't be any need of you once Gunvar takes over." And he's got his torch that he's kind of holding with his shield.
Donnie's kind of smiling, and he sort of raps on the wall, and he's like, "So you're doubly dumb because this is stone, and it doesn't really burn too well, does it?"
Well, the straw will, and so will you.
Question.
As they've talked enough and this back and forth, so I am opening the door at this point.
So while you're doing that, so is the guard's back to River?
The guard's back is to River. Also, Rising Tides. There's a Metroid thing that was announced. Really? Metroid is one of my favorite series of all time. So apparently for Nintendo, it's just been announced. I must know more about this immediately, but not during the game. But if someone could throw this to me in Discord and be like, "Hey, Arv, they announced the greatest thing of all time, which is more Metroid," that'd be great. Sorry. Thank you,
Professor
for telling me,
Tolkien. Please take no offense to the fact that Arv seems to think that Metroid is more important.
No, Metroid's never more
It's
important
the
than
best
Tolkien.
thing of all time, you said.
Relating to Nintendo. Although, if they ever bring Lord of the Rings to Nintendo, I'd have to change that. You
There
tagged
used
me on
to
Twitch?
be a Hobbit game for the NES.
For the NES, yes, that's right. That's true. But not for Switch,
Horrible.
though.
It's really horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, so now, yes, his back is to you, River. That's true. Although he is across. Now, remember, he's across the hall from Tani. So if you look at where you are, his back is to you, but you can't. I mean, you could look out and just see his side, basically. But it's not like he's here with his back to you, if you see what I mean.
Let me just look at that again. Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
he's not here. He's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
My question is, I'm exploring two possibility branches here. One is to just push open the door and attack him from behind. Like, Can I close that? Sneak attack is not a thing.
Not for a fighter, but you could, not for a warrior, but you could try to basically get the jump on him and get a surprise round. That you could certainly do if you're able to open the door without him noticing it. And at the moment, he is very focused on Tani.
Yes.
So
that was going to be the one thing. The other thing I was considering, but Tani has done such a good job of engaging.
Oh, Tani's not done.
Yeah, exactly. So my one other thought was of luring him towards River's cell and then like smacking him with the door. But she's, strength is not her thing, dexterity is. So so I think this is actually better teamwork option for Tawny to be engaging him and River to sneak up and attack him from behind as best she can.
By the way, while the guard is distracted and Tawny is making sufficiently enough noise, Inga would like to unlock her cell door.
Using the thing that she has created at this point?
The spell.
Oh, the spell.
Yes!
Aha! Now he catches up.
Yes.
No one puts Inga in a cell.
Never again.
That's right. I forgot. You were so traumatized the first time this happened. I forgot.
Never again.
Last 50 times.
Yeah. That's true. They're very good at wanting to lock you into. They've seen what happens when they don't lock you into places.
Fair.
So
I also super love that like the other like River unpicking her lock and Bolo filching the keys has given sufficient cover to Inga's magic power of unlocking doors that like even if this dude were to get out and be like they all somehow escaped their cells, it wouldn't be like, well, obviously she used her dwarven power. It would be like, wow, they're all just really good at getting out of there.
Yeah, how is that even possible? Yep. Okay, so
yeah, I go to the door and I would like it doesn't say anything about like the volume of how loud the magic word has to be to unlock something.
I wouldn't think so. You more than a whisper, but it's not like you have to be like, all right, open. Son of a God, that's
so like as quietly as she possibly can while still having it working, basically.
Okay, so you could definitely do that, and it is not magically restricted or barred, so it does in fact, again, and then the slightly, not too loud, and it would be concealed anyway by Tawny's torrent of abuse with the guard. Oh yeah, well I've been. So there's this moment of the Bjorning, just like whoa, 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 whoa. It's like like they're just sort of it's a lot of local bar fight, don't hold me back type of thing that we've got vibe going on there.
I would like it if all four of us could open our doors just in different ways. Like Tawny's gonna have him open it, and the River's gonna like break hers down.
Yep.
We got magic over here, keys.
Yep.
And then want Bolo to unlock Stone. I just want that.
Well, I was just gonna say, and then Stone unlocks it, having used a bone that he somehow found. And just like, how is this possible? Hey, I've been watching a lot of clips of Knight Rider. If Kit can do it, I imagine Stone can do it too, right?
I guess Inga would like to grab the bucket then.
Okay.
And start sneaking up on the guard.
Okay. So you.
Meanwhile, Tawny is, the guy's just threatened him with fire, and Tawny's like, bring it. Bring it all. I've been through fire you cannot know. Bring it.
Oh, and so he laughs. He's like, was that so? Pretty brave in there, aren't you? Well, let me So he gets like, he's getting angrier and angrier. In the meantime, Inga has departed her cell. Bolo, are you, because you at this point would be able to not only hear this, but also be able to maybe see Inga sneaking up. Like, so.
Yeah, I was going to head to Inga's cell, but then it like opens and I'm like, what?
You're going to get there. We're all going to be standing there and you're like, well, all right.
She's like, I stole his keys first. And he had 2 sets, both on his belt.
Yeah, so I was heading that way. Instead, I'm going to head down to Stone's door and try to open it with the same key.
Okay. So Inga, you can place yourself here. Bolo, you can place yourself there. River, I think at this point, when do you depart to do, like, are you doing this now where you're leaving to deal with a guy?
Yeah. So, right. And so I don't, like, if you want me to do a stealth thing, I can do that. My thought here is, we know that like they've mustered and they are heading away, like the bulk of the strength.
Don't know if they're headed away yet, but you're not sure. But they have definitely mustered, yes.
They've definitely mustered. So like probably part of our plan here is to like not let him like sound an alarm. Right?
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. So so part of what I'm wondering is, rather than attacking him, can she sneak out behind him and like hold her knife to his neck and like cover his mouth and basically take him hostage?
So that will depend. Now, here's the thing. Yes, you can try to do that. It'll be a particular check we'll talk about. But that I can't. I'm not going to let you discuss the particulars of it with your party. So it's going to be up to what Inga would actually do. So in other words, if Inga's like, I want to, attack this guy with brackish water or whatever, like whatever Inga chooses to do, that will have a particular effect. And the same with what you choose to do, River.
Yeah,
So
Inga would like to dump the bucket onto his head, like to pull it over his head, so in case that he screams, that it's muffled.
I see. I think that's possible. I'm trying to think about the height. Well,
I was just going like.
Inga's not that short.
Well, no, I understand, but like, but remember, you're dumping it and then putting the bucket on top, so that's not just a matter of like, putting on top of his head. You're also presumably.
Can
pouring
I
the water
try
onto him.
to like make him topple over first, like trying to make it licks give out?
Sure.
And then put the bucket on his
Sure.
head. Can I do that in one go?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say if you knock him over, you're going to be successful probably at doing the second part.
I would. Yeah. Okay. So Inga's already out of her cell because
Yes.
the way I'm imagining this is that like River is closer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Inga is 5'1", by the way, aka 1m56.
Yeah. No, it's more an issue of like, getting. I mean, for anybody who was, reasonably shorter than the person in question, it would be the point. It's not a dwarf thing, is what I'm saying. It's not an anti-dwarf thing. But in any case, yes. So because of being closer, so what you'll be able to do here is, I would say, River, you can come up on him and we'll be making a stealth check. And then you can decide if you want to like grab him. At the same time, Inga, you will also be making a stealth check. And if it works, then you will also be able to basically knock his legs out from underneath him. If both of you are successful, I'll figure out how to adjudicate that in a minute. And he does.
I
mean, I think that Inga can probably see River, but River can't see Inga. Like Inga does have dark vision.
The dude has a torch, so.
And he has
Right.
Yeah, it's true. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But that's what I'm saying. River can probably see him. I don't know that she can necessarily see Inga down the hall.
No, I would say that's not probably not very likely. She might see it, might see Inga, but not necessarily. I do also want to point out that his torch is also a suitable weapon. So he's not. Okay. Even though the sword is at his belt, it's not like he doesn't. He's.
And has he got his shield in hand,
yes.
or is it on his arm?
Yes. No, he has it. He has a shield in hand. His sword is at his belt, but he has a shield on his left arm and his torch in his right.
Okay.
So stealth or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll have both of you make stealth checks, and so yeah. Okay.
16 ain't too bad.
Not too bad. Let's see how the River does.
Too shabby.
Yeah. Let's see how the stealth goes. Oh dear.
So.
Actually should work in Inga's favor.
Right. I was just going to say that. That's exactly what I was going to say. So go ahead, River. Yeah. Describe.
Yeah. I'm totally imagining that like the door just squeaks really high.
He's all like, clever girl.
Clever girl.
Yeah, literally. So I think River thought to herself that like, yeah, sure, I'm just gonna very slowly swing this door open so that it doesn't make a sound, and then it just goes.
Right, it does the classic.
It's like humpback whale song down the hallway.
Yeah, exactly.
And but the one thing I will say before this is that she would have like she would still have her dagger in hand.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm imagining is that if his gaze like swivels to her, she'll just kind of like grin and go, "Hi," and then engage him in attack if he tries to. Yeah.
He's I find it amusing that he rolled like a 22 to detect here, so it all fits narratively. So he's just like, he immediately swivels to you, at which point, Inga, you can, having made your stealth check, you can absolutely now, and I'm just going to have you make just a basic attack. This is a very simple one, though. It's not going to be much to hit him.
So basically a strength check.
Yes, that more or less, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So you tell me. You take out his knees, basically. Is that?
So like he turns around, right, to see what.
Yes, she's like.
Okay, then Inga like kicks in the inside of his knee to make him.
So he
fall
stumbles
down.
forward, lands painfully on his knees, and then at that point, Inga, you see Inga basically dump a bucket of brackish water in his head, and then the bucket goes on. And,
No. She doesn't first dump the liquid. No, she puts the whole thing on his head.
With the liquid. No, I get it. Like. So he drops the torch, and his shield is kind of on his arm already. So he's.
River says, "Grab his sword."
I grab his sword if I may.
Okay, yeah, you do. You pull it out of his belt. He's like scrabbling, like just
and
imagine.
then Inga would hop over to Tony's gate and open it.
Okay. And wait, using the
magic words.
The magic words, okay. I like the idea that Bolo keeps turning around and being like, I've got the you know what it took to get this? In the meantime, Bolo, you have been able to open, because you didn't have to worry as much about like testing, what keys for this one.
Yeah.
So you were able to open Stone's door. Stone comes out and gives you an obligatory lick on the hand, and then goes bounding up, stops short, I would say, of the river's position. Whoops, hold on a second. There we go. And instead just leans over and growls right next to the bucket-headed guard. And the guard,
right, so
and is like bashing like around, like swale, and actually bangs a couple times against the bars with his head, and does so, and then slumps down on the ground.
Yeah, Inga would like he's probably wearing a belt or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah, take that and tie him up with it.
Okay.
And also we can shove him into one of the cells and lock it.
Yes.
So.
And like magically lock it so that they can't get him out without like extra like
River
stuff.
like notices Inga like and is just going like, are you talking to the lock? When did you learn how to do that? Have you been able to do this the whole time? Wait.
Oh no, this is a new trick I learned, but shh. And yeah, Inga, while Inga ties him up, and it's like, so it's like everybody unlocked now, or
so now everybody is unlocked and out. Yes.
River looks to Tawny and just kind of looks extremely impressed and goes, "I never thought I'd hear that language this side of a river barge. I didn't know this side of you."
Because you didn't see me during the battle.
That's true.
And he grabs the guard, pulls him the rest of the way into his cell, and just slams him against the wall, kind of propped up into a corner, and just sort of leans down, looks back over his shoulder at Inga and the river, and lifts the bucket up just a little bit, and is like, "Respect women," and drops the bucket.
So I do have to say that he is utterly unconscious, in case anyone's curious.
I don't care.
Okay, you can do that. Somewhere in his fever dream, he hears like, "Respect women,"
and
he wakes up going, I need to find a woman to respect right now.
The other thing that he's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to take this. I'm sorry. Beg your pardon.
That's fine.
Talk
this
about
has nothing
yourself
to
for a
do with
moment.
you. Go, dude.
Go. Shush.
Go. Do your thing. Anyway, so Tawny kind of just right before he does drop the bucket, and then he lifts it back up again. He says, "By the way, if you had more brains than," and he looks down and is like, "Never mind," and drops the bucket again and walks away.
Meanwhile, Bolo was kind of looking at the keys and muttering to himself, like, "I thought I could be the hero."
River looks to Bolo and goes, "Bolo, how did you get the keys?"
I did. I brightened up a little bit. I did. Here they are.
Inga turns around and like pats him on the head. Well done.
River actually like, if it's not too distant, River actually like picks him up and hugs him and goes, "I'm so proud of you." This is, did we literally,
He's like surprised at first and then hugs back like, "Yay, we're yang together for a while.
Yeah, and Tawny kind of kneels down and there's like, damn good teamwork.
High
Yay,
five.
teamwork,
I know.
and then like a freeze frame.
Yeah. Mhm, yeah,
Everyone's stone with a paw.
exactly. Lillamon's upstairs going.
At the beginning of the adventure, I was gonna say I fully expect Lillimon to come and like kick the doors open, but
Yes, absolutely.
Oh man, I just want to dwell on like the joy of the success of forever.
I was if he did come in with the torch, I'm like, I've got a bucket of water.
Yeah,
Bring it.
exactly.
You are so stupid.
What a fool. Such an absolute fool.
Oh,
Oh, that was very satisfying.
Yeah, that would be good if we hear
Yeah.
down the hall now that we've all done this, like clap 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 clap, and like Lillimon's like, oh, you're already out.
did you come to help us escape? And Lillamon's like, nay. And you're like, oh, yes, exactly.
No. We'll want to. We will want to like get our weapons. I don't know if there's like an obvious place where those would be kept. So that was
Probably they have a room right next to the main gate.
yeah,
I
that's
think-
kind of what I was
I
expecting.
think we saw the direction they took them.
Cool.
They took them out a different door when they were bringing us down here, if I recall correctly.
Excellent. I will take a bio break and you right back.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anybody
Else in the chat
wants
talking amongst
to-
yourselves, donate to the, contribute to the
We'll
channel
all be
thing.
right back. Greg comes back and we're like, where's everybody?
Yeah, we have successfully escaped.
Yes.
Okay, everybody in chat. Since
Be
I
right
am
back.
the only one who is still here, I guess I'm gonna have to entertain all of you. So if anybody has any kind of like questions, like earlier with the hey, what do to do character creation, then please shoot. I'm paying attention to chat right now since I don't have to pay attention to the gaming screen. So yes. Hi. Sup. Yeah. I'm not good at the whole entertaining people on my own. This is high effect life. Yes, the feline has behaved. Also, since it got so warm, she's just sleeping the entire time. Echo. So, and she's chasing bugs around because, like, now it's bug season. So, and despite having nets in front of my window, it's still some still make their way in. So. I guess I could show off my brand new box that I got for my dice. Like, woo! It's a box. It's like wood and stuff, and there are dice in it. So, though, like the nice part, and I just did that earlier while the stream was actually going, is that I glued some felt into the lid, so that I can use a lid as a dice tray. Oops. If I can hit. Woo. So yeah, that's nice. It has a big old flower on the front and leaves. So ignore my ugly nails. I need to repaint them. Oh, time brain is. Okay, S-Link. Our welcome video is translated into 15 languages, including one by
None of which-
Echo. The KS link. Now I'm confused.
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Ah, yes. I see. Where is the
Or
link?
Kaiser Soze. I don't know. It could be either.
Ah, okay. Of course. Yeah, I just like joined a new Discord server the other day ish. And they used only abbreviations on that point. I'm like, fuck does this mean? The fuck does that mean? It's like so
So what do you think we should do to this
Echo,
guy? Not the guard.
I will murder you for you.
I was
uttering
waiting
that
for that.
phrase.
I was waiting for that. As soon as I saw him talk about that toothpaste, I was like, oh no.
Ah!
So what do you think we should do with this lord?
Hit him over the head and take him to the king. Also, now that all of you have returned, I am going to get myself something to drink.
Our
so-
So how was your cell?
Spacious, comfortable.
4
stars.
Out of
300.
Oh.
What do we think this fellow is doing with mustering a mustering horn and is he going to attack the city? What does he think he's doing?
It's a really good question. And now that Amal's back, she can lend her considerable brain power to it.
What was the question? Sorry, I replenished.
The Lord. What do we think he's going to attack with a bunch of people, a bunch of armed soldiers?
I presume he wants to take the city. Wait, is Bolo asking or?
Yeah. Well, yeah, sort of.
I mean, basically, I think he villain monologued his plan basically with last time where he was basically like, join me in treason against Bard, who I don't think is doing enough for men. And then we were like, what? Treason? No. And he was like,
it couldn't be. He couldn't siege the city with a handful, a few hundred soldiers, but a coup type thing, perhaps. Like a rush attack on the castle.
We don't know what supporters he has in the city, right? So he will have seated supporters within the city guard. He might have supporters like that one. I'll be really embarrassed if that one bureaucrat that I hated on site is not actually part of a nefarious plot. I would be very embarrassed, but I assume he is. And if he is, because it does seem like a many tendrilled thing, right? Where distract Bard with his wife's illness, and the poisoned thread and stuff like that. Make him turn his attention away from things that are important while we foment tension over here, and then it's just a tangled web that some Mirkwood spider has woven. But yes. So anyway, I presume he is actually turning up to take some to gain some foothold in the city.
What are our next steps?
So my sense, this is narratively speaking, I don't actually know. I mean, River wouldn't have a sense of this. My sense is that because we told Balin what we suspected and who we were going to see, that Balin might have gotten word to the dwarves to come essentially and meet this force or something like that potentially. I feel like something is going to happen there, and again, this is like me mostly looking at the rhythms of how engagements tend to go in Adventures in Middle Earth. We have to do stuff, and then we get to a situation where we have to like hold something down fight-wise for a certain amount of time, not to like dismiss the mystique of it. I really like seeing the structure, and then if we do it for long enough, then some further support is going to arrive and turn that tide or help us and stuff. But I don't know, this is actually sufficiently different from a lot of other things. It could go in a lot of ways. I figure our next step is to basically try to race them back to the city, because they are a marching army and would presumably be slow. But
that I think is dependent upon what they're doing. Whether if they're going for the coup, the kind of subtle thing, then they were simply mustering, and once they leave, they will break up and enter the city in separate groups and much smaller things, because a large unified marching force heading towards Dale is going to be noticed. So if they're not doing we're going to lay siege to the city, they will break that unit up.
Right. So yeah, but I mean, does that would you think that would change our approach of still like, I mean, because obviously we can't take their army, but we presumably can try and get past them to get word, and stuff like that to the city. But I don't know. Sure would be great if we had a mechanical bird that we could do that with.
Okay, I'm leaving again. Bye.
It was such perfect timing. It's just like...
Yes, all according
Yeah,
to plan.
I do wonder if we'll have to ask if Bard is like away from the city at some state or function or something like that for this group of armed people to like take him over and then take over the city following that or something.
Tawny talked to him like 2 days ago.
Okay.
But he's still there.
Okay.
I mean, I think that probably, yeah, it's a hard thing to figure out. I don't know. Like, it does seem like the suggestion of having seen where the tensions and stuff are, that he is probably going to try and like present himself as a viable alternative to Bard, and say like, here's my claim to the throne situation. But I'm not 100% sure there either, so I don't totally know. Tari, do you have? Oh, sorry. I was going to say, do you have thoughts on what we should be doing next once we get out of here? Are we rushing back to the city, or do you have another thought?
Go capture the evil dude. Gunvar. Pew pew. Take him hostage. Get our stuff. Get Lilleman, and get the fuck out of here.
Oh, so we're assuming that he hasn't left yet. I was assuming he'd already left.
So had I.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Or
my
is
thought was,
just about to, and is in amongst his horde of men. If whatever.
We'll figure it out.
Now,
What's the worst that could happen?
if you were going to try to enact a coup in Dale,
Okay.
if you were this guy and about to try to enact a coup in Dale, where would you start?
In broad daylight?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that, everybody.
I don't get it.
House stuff.
Broad daylight, broad daylight.
I see what you did there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't get it either until just now.
So yes, my apologies. So, okay, so this guy is knocked out. You are free. And as a quick reset for chat, you are watching day 21 of Adventures of Middle-earth Erebor, Adventures of Hammers and Anvils. If you like what you see in here, please follow the channel and support these lovely people in their writing endeavors, in their voice acting endeavors, in their illustration and artistry endeavors, and all that kind of good stuff. And thank you all for being here.
And contribute the remaining 2,200 points to boost the channel.
Oh yeah, and we're almost
I
to the
tried
channel point.
Contributing, but it didn't work. It didn't count, and I don't know why.
I'm not sure what to say about that. Yeah, if you go, it should work. But anyway, yeah, please contribute some channel points if you still have them, because we're very close, and that would be awesome.
Oh, because I clicked on the wrong thing.
Aha.
So, yeah, so you folks are now free. And on the bottom floor with a knocked out guard, what would you folks like to do?
I lock him up with a magic word.
Okay.
Iki pateng.
We've been indulging in some casual roleplay whilst you were occupied, and so yes. But we were thinking that we would go and look for our weapons, and also get a sense of who is still here, if at all.
Okay.
So
Let's talk a little bit about both those things. So, first of all, there are a few people here, but not of the guard variety. Apparently, other than your guard, most everyone else seems to have gone with the rest of the men that Gunvar assembled. There are servants who are very much extremely intimidated by your presence and bearing,
and heavily laden with quail.
Yeah, exactly. They're very nervous about it, so they pretty much tell you whatever it is that you wish to know, and are very obviously not part of the You know, they're not kind of like, oh, this is what we believe is right for the humans. The bigotry seems to be limited to his military people. And his military people have, to be clear, are gone. The weaponry you find in the manor's armory, along with if you needed to restock arrows and things like that, there are a few of those left, but most of the weapons, rather ominously, are also gone, as are all the horses, with the exception of Lillimon, who has been left behind. And Lillimon is quite happy to see you, Inga, when you appear. But
what about the horses we got at the stables to get
gone.
That ain't good.
That's terrible.
What about my staff? Did
Gone.
they
No, I'm
take
just
my
kidding.
staff?
The staff. No, they found your staff
We're
is
going
with the
right
others.
back to the 5 armies. Then
Son of a. No. The staff is with the other weapons in the armory, but the horses, besides Lillimon, are gone.
How many arrows may I have this?
There are, let us say, 20 that you're able to find.
Take those.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Who like me some arrows?
Now, there is
Made of
one bit of
choo-choo.
good news about all this that I've mentioned, which is that you do very clearly see the tracks. They are not trying to hide them, obviously, of the horses as they go storming off. So you could quite easily follow those tracks if you wanted to, but you're going to have to be doing it not on a horseback that's obvious around here, because they are no horses to be found.
Is there like a village or something nearby? Like it's not just a castle, right?
There is a sort of holding. Yeah, there's kind of a general sort of holding, although really the main part of Ashbrook is this sort of manor house. You can even actually see from here, if I can figure out how to use it. Yes, I can. Okay, good. So, all right, there we go. So you can see that there are some houses inside, and it is the evening. So you could sort of like there. So let me lay things out. There are a few of these houses around. It's not so much a village as much as it is kind of within the protected walls of this place. Think of like in the film version of Rohan and the Golden Hall of Mediselt and all that. There are right around in Edoras, there are these houses within the walls. So there are definitely people who live in them. There is the risk, if you start going around and being like, give me your horses, that you're going to possibly bring any guards that are still around or whatever to the fore. But you don't see many, because they've all been basically, it seems like most of them, taken by Gunvar.
Right. I was going to say any horse that's capable of really
Seems
making
like
that
it.
trip,
Yeah.
would have been taken.
Seems like
So
it.
question, one thing that River would absolutely ask the servants as they're getting their weapons are, where exactly is Gunvar going to? Like, we presume he's going to attack Dale, but is the plan to hold Dale, like to enact a siege? Is he targeting something in particular? And ancillary to that, do they have a rookery or something with which to send a message to someone swiftly?
So, as far as the question, we'll start with the second question first. They don't have a rookery. Perhaps, it's only an hour away from Dale, and perhaps it wasn't seen as necessary in the before times. And who the hell knows what Gunvar is thinking about now, because he did strike you as rather well prepared, with the exception of not accounting for the fact that he needed more than one guard. Yeah, I mean, listen, you don't mess with the heroes of Dale, right? It wouldn't be the first time people underestimated the good folks. But beyond that, the first question, though, the servants, who are, as I said, utterly intimidated by you, seem frantic to convince you that they know absolutely nothing about what he's doing. And the impression you get is that Gunvar tried to keep this stuff from his servants, and not his military people. But there is one thing that you do find, which is that there was someone who had come under the cover of darkness, you find from one of the servants, who had come under the cover of darkness from Dale, and who had come in to speak to Gunvar. They didn't know who it was, and they couldn't make him out, and they were basically forbidden. Even like the butler, like the main servants, were not allowed to come in and serve this person. They took great pains not to be seen. And so they do know that someone who is not one of the household and not one of Gunvar's men just showed up from Dale. They have no idea who that is, but someone was there speaking to him in advance of this plot. But beyond that, they don't know where it's going. So,
So like my first thought here is that, like, to unload all the crap that Lilleman is carrying for Inga, and you are blurry again.
Damn it.
And
Blurry,
send
just think it's
Bolo with
purple.
Lilleman to Dale ahead.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
I'm sorry. So I was so busy focusing it after you told me that I didn't hear the second part.
Sending Bolo on Lilleman to Dale.
Ah.
Because
Are
if
we going to get a Paul Revere? The Gunvar is
Yes.
coming, like running down the.
I think it's awesome.
Okay. You could certainly do that if you wish.
One question, actually. Okay, so wait.
you're blurry again.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm-
understand what it's
Turn
doing.
off the autofocus.
No, if I turn off the autofocus, it screws up other things.
I will say, whenever you go blurry, I think it looks like artful stained glass deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I just feel like you gain like 6 sophistication points.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you. Well, good.
See,
That's
where-
good. Well, this is the
whereas
best camera
I-
I've ever owned by a lot. So it's this camera
the
works
GM
really
sort
well
of
most of the
stepping
time.
back, you know.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
you're
Well,
right.
from
'cause
the group a little bit.
eventually, when I
Yeah,
build up enough.
Hey, go on.
When I build up enough money, I want to make sure I'm going to get one of those lenses where it looks even blurrier in the background, so you get the really slick, like, you know, like.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I
soft.
think you can actually do that with Zoom. You can blur your background, and I wonder if that would help the situation.
Well, I mean, if I do, right, like it does blur if you zoom in. It's just a matter. The reason it's doing this, I think, is because it keeps thinking this microphone is my face.
Right.
Because you can see the resemblance. I mean, like, obviously.
Yeah.
So
You should
I
put a
think
smiley
that's why.
face on the microphone.
Yeah, that
Googly eyes,
that will
googly
definitely
eyes.
help.
It would help.
Anyway,
But so, okay, so question then. So, just trying to remember the things that Gunvar bragged about. Like, did he specifically brag about he was going to go attack Dale? Because
he said that he was going to restore the rightful greatness of Dale by changing the leadership. How he intends to do that, though, is unclear, since he also blames Erebor and, like, you know, he blames a lot of people that are not him. So
Right.
it's not clear as to what exactly he did. And Gunvar, I do need to say, was very convinced in his own ability, but Gunvar did not actually go. He didn't monologue the "here's my plan since you're going to die anyway." He didn't do that. And it is important to note that I keep emphasizing this because unlike some of the others that you faced, maybe not Longo, but Longo was different because you didn't have much of interactions with Longo as Longo himself in the flesh. You get the impression that he seems cautious somewhat in his sort of preparation for this plan. Up till the point that he captured you and left you with one guard, but otherwise, very cautious.
we could have taken a whole mess of guards. That's fine.
You know.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking in part is just that I don't want to proceed on the assumption that he's going to Dale as if he had said so if he didn't actually say so. So
Yeah, he
like,
didn't say he was going to Dale exactly, but you don't know where he was going.
So I think it still makes sense to send Bolo to Dale.
Okay.
I think it's still like to in fact like warn the leadership there. We probably sent him to say speak to this one guard, like our friend guard in particular.
Captain.
Yeah, we're talking about not
The
Canix.
captain.
Yeah. Cardis.
Yes, not TARDIS. TARDIS.
Yeah, not TARDIS. He's
not
bigger on the
TARDIS.
inside.
Yeah.
So
Go back in time and fix things.
Yeah, that would be so much easier. Doing timey-wimey stuff.
if Bolo is agreeable to that, then that would be one thing to do while we pursue the tracks as best we can.
Are you agreeable to that, Bolo?
I am indeed.
Okay.
And before Bolo leaves, Tawny will make sure that Bolo still has the keys to the cells. Take these with you. If you see these guys, make sure you and ride on. Just twist the dagger a little more. And Tawny also, when we were talking to the servants, mentioned there is a guard in that cell. Do not interact with him. I don't care how much he screams and begs and pleads.
Oh, we
if
won't.
you let
sir.
him out, I will come back and I will deal with you personally.
They can't let him out because Inga locked it with her magic.
I know, but that means that they can't go down there and feed him. He'll have to drink the brackish water in the bucket.
The servants have become like
Oh.
the servants have become like tapestries at this point. Like just like they could not possibly be. Yeah. It is possible that when you leave, they will gather their nerve back in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, they are mega terrified.
River, well, so the thing, the way that I like the idea, putting propaganda aside, I do like the idea that like Tawny is like all angry and furious with them, and then River is like, we understand that you probably had nothing to do with this, and you know, you
Good
needn't worry
Anjuanot,
that-
bad Anjuanot, yes.
Yeah, exactly. That we will not actually, you know, we understand the difficult position in which you are placed, and this is your employer, and so on. And so she's gonna like just. She doesn't want them to be scared of them. She wants them to think well of them, essentially.
Okay.
And we'll try to pursue that.
And Tawny grabs a last piece of roast quail, like a tiny little quail drumstick, and just bites it in half and just starts chewing on the bones and walks out of the room.
Okay.
And then it's like,
But only
he's-
after you leave, though.
Yeah,
It's like a-
yeah.
Oh my gums! Ow!
Okay.
Exactly.
That bones are really small and sharp. Bones
Uh-huh,
make
I
a
know.
pretty
I've done that before. I know.
Okay, so all right, so Bolo is going to go in one direction. I do want to point out for everyone on the record that this is yet another example of how the party is always able to split itself at some point. Just pointing that out. Really good at it. No, it makes
I just
complete
want to
sense.
say, if we still had a mechanical bird, we probably wouldn't need to do this.
You're gonna have to talk to someone who was responsible for said mechanical bird.
Rune, why did you?
Yeah. Oh man.
Maybe in the next fellowship phase, we can get an upgrade to that bird. So it can like be
GPS
it can
locator.
be given some small tasks, you know, that sort of thing.
Right.
Just a
Actually,
pulse tracker. It's
One other thing for Bolo, like basically, the I think that almost like the thing that River would want him to do as well is to deliver a message to Balin and say, "Yep, this
Bolo's
is
already gone, by the way, but you can go ahead. And...
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say.
No, I'm kidding.
by the way.
Yeah, it's just like here's a message for Bard, but also make sure that you get this to Balin." And you know.
Okay. So, Bolo, you go galloping off. Now, I'm curious. I have a question for Inga. How fast can Lillimon go at top speed, would you say?
He can outrun
Let me look up
Shadowfax.
the speed of
Shadow-
Shetland ponies.
He's a Shadowfaxland pony. He's much faster.
Faxland pony.
Shadowfax.
Not since the great Shetland ponies wandered the wild.
I would say like about 1 horsepower.
What?
1 horsepower.
1 horsepower. That's great.
30 kilometers an hour.
Wittying. All right.
Let's see.
Okay, because it'll make a difference in how I coordinate what happens next.
Can you take care of something else in the meantime? while I
Sure.
try to figure
While
Yes,
I'm
for
doing
example,
that,
discussing a shortcut that Bolo might know to be able to take.
Hey, well, what I was gonna ask was, so Bolo, I just want to be clear about your route. As you're heading back, you're going to try to
See?
you're going to try to head to speak to your
Yeah.
captain first and then Balin, or like what
Yes.
is your
Yes, Captain first, and also specifically the route and take. How far are we from?
you're about an
Dale?
hour outside of Dale.
And was it sort of a straight route?
Fairly straight, yes. It's not incredibly winding and treacherous.
I mean,
Yes.
My primary concern is being seen. So is it fairly open land? Is it woody?
It's reasonably open land, but you are aided here in the fact that there are not a lot of lights that you're going to find out this way, and it is dark, remember, so that will help. The sound of Lillimon's going to make sound while galloping, but but assuming you're not actually yelling, "The British are coming!" Like assuming you're not actually yelling that, then they're not gonna. You won't. notify.
I do have like it's not true night vision, but if there's any amount of light, I think
There's ambient light for sure.
I can see pretty well.
Yep.
So okay.
And I do need to point this out too, by the way, before Inga answers my question. I do want to say, the timing of this plan also seems to have been coordinated because it is a new moon this evening. So there is no moon. Now there are stars and there's a little bit of light, but this is as sort of deep dark as you could get from the general surroundings. You'll still be able to see well enough, I think, Bolo, as will Lilliman. But in general terms, as part of the how do we plan to take over whatever we're going to take over, this seems to have been well coordinated to lead to that effect.
Yeah.
Inga, what'd you find out?
So according to this website, which I don't know how reliable that is, but it was the only one I was able to find so quickly, that it says that Shetland ponies can run up to 20 to 25 miles per hour.
Hey. All right.
Let me
Wait,
go
I have a
convert that
different
into
source.
real measurements.
You have a different source. Mine
Yeah.
says 100 miles an hour.
No. For real, mine says 35 to 45 miles per hour.
Oh.
They apparently can go very fast. Like as you wouldn't think from their size, but compared to a thoroughbred racing horse, apparently there is a speed gene. Anyway, this might not actually be relevant to their...
That's acceptable. But how long can they sustain it, though?
Yeah, it's probably burst speed.
I was going to say like 35, 40 miles an hour for an hour. I'd be like, wow, really? Like,
let me see what these guys...
I would quote Doc Brown from Back to the Future 3. Even the fastest horse in the world can't run faster than 30 or 45 miles an hour. 30 or 40 miles an hour.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. There's knocking that has started happening overhead. Come on, internet. Well, actually, why don't we just... Is it possible to treat like 45 miles per hour as a dash speed and like build down from that?
Yeah.
Or...
So let's say if you were going at full pace, took you about an hour on horses, and you're going at top speed. I'm going to say... Here's what I'm going to do, actually, Inga. I tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. I will say that if Bolo is on full gallop with Lilliman, that Bolo can probably get back to Dale in about half the time it took you to get out, since you were coming out basically trotting, not galloping. But I'll give you, since I was enamored of this the last time, I tried to give the river, I think, a devil's bargain, if I'm not mistaken. I will try to do the same thing for you, Inga, and what I'll say is that I will allow Lilliman to make a check. If Lilliman passes the check, then Lilliman will be able to... Or let me redo that. Lilliman will be able to go faster than that, and would be able to maybe get him back to Dale, let's say in 20 minutes. But if you go that fast, then Lilliman is going to have to take a check afterwards to prevent him from sustaining injury. Because Lilliman is not used to full-out gallops on the regular. But I will allow it because I do agree that this, first of all, the visuals are tremendous, so just beyond that. So there is risk of injury. That doesn't mean death. Doesn't mean he's going to fall over and collapse. But he could be hurt if he puts himself out there. I understand everyone...
Plot armor, so...
See, but that's what we're getting at here.
No, like, actually, like, yeah, like... Lilliman
116 points left.
Oh, okay.
Also, I just looked up the pony rules in the monster manual. 40-foot movement speed. So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I suggested, I think, works. But it's up to you. Do you want to?
Question for
Sure.
Yes. And just in case this changes Inga's perspective, can Lilliman have inspiration on that check?
Yes, I'll allow that.
I will give him inspiration if you decide to do this.
Yes.
I would.
Yes.
Okay. So Lilliman, oh, I love it. I love everything about it. So Lilliman, once you've said what you need to say, Bolo, Lilliman goes galloping offwards, galloping sort of away.
Oh,
now,
wait, I actually have something prepared for that. Wait,
okay, Lilliman stops.
Right now, right to Dale.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. All right, good.
Channel boost complete.
Yay, that was perfect. We did it. Thank you for the channel boost, everybody. So that's awesome. That means that we have a little bit of time extra to get people over here. Thank you so much to everyone who contributed channel points. Thank you. We are always so good at that, and that's because of this community. So thank you all. Okay, so you are on the back of the horse, and Bolo, and you are galloping at top speed. Now, Bolo, I'm going to give you here, I need you to make a check as well, although it won't be difficult because Lilliman knows you pretty well at this point. But I don't think you have a lot of practice with galloping on ponies for your life through dark roads.
Right.
In fact, I'm pretty convinced of it. So I'm going to ask you to make, I think probably animal handling, but let me double check. Yes, animal handling. This will not affect Lilamon's speed, but it might affect your ability to stay on.
Aha.
Okay.
Just like for reference, should we just stick to the monster manual rules for pony? Like
Yeah, that's
stats and
fine.
stuff?
That's fine.
Okay.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about something longer than just within an initiative round, but that basically fits what's there.
No, but like
Um,
because if he needs to make like a roll about like not injuring himself, then I need to have stats for that.
Oh, I
right?
see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
So then, yes, you should do that. Okay. So, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, everybody, for that. Okay. So, all right. Yeah, you stay on, Bolo, although it is the ride of your life. Like, like over this thing.
Yeah.
Lilimon, you notice for the first portion of the journey is, pretty quiet. And then when you sort of hear this, and you can hear that Lilimon's laboring a little bit as Lilimon is like bolting at speed beyond any known, ability of Lilimon ponies, the ride that will be spoken of. Anyway, at top speed. And as Lilimon pulls into, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to come back to the other three, and I'm going to talk about what you're doing in the meantime. So you are up and over hill. As you do this, without the moon, you get this strange feeling at one point, Bolo, as if you're kind of drifting through a dream. Lilimon's speed, the wind whistles past you, and yet the land around you seems strangely silent, ominous, almost waiting for the next thing to happen. And as you go over the hill, you can finally see the twinkling lights of Dale as Lilimon thunders down the road, sides heaving as Lilimon rushes towards the gate. As you approach the gate, several guards, who I would say are more than a little stunned to see a halfling at top speed on a Shetland pony size heading towards their front gate. One of them steps forward and holds up his hand and, Halt! What is your business here? Because they haven't seen who you are yet, obviously. Bolo.
Yeah. I do pull up, and it's I'm Bolobras Took of the Heroes of Dale, and I must speak to, and I give the name right.
Cardis.
Cardis. I must speak Cardis.
And they they look at you, and then they see, like, oh, you're out late. Yes. Well, then follow me now. I need Lilimon.
Quickly now.
And they said, open the gate, and the gate opens. I need Lilimon to make this check now. Lilimon has been inspired. But sadly, it was Lilimon, not Liliman, so unfortunately, no, I'm just kidding. A mysterious other Lilimon will be... No, that's fine.
No!
So, you're going to be making a check.
I've ever stepped with a pencil? Ever been stepped with a pencil?
Wannabe?
It's a constitution check that we're making here. And I'm going to say constitution... Let's say saving throw. So I would say constitution saving throw, but it's done at advantage because of the inspiration.
Oh, that's like the same for creatures, so...
Okay, so where's that same?
Yeah, so it's +1. Okay, so with advantage, yeah?
Yes.
And... fuck!
Oh, no!
What? No,
Oh.
that's a glitch! Is it a
So
glitch? You
about
have to do it
getting
again.
stabbed with a pencil, or...
Yes. I'm glad that I'm on another continent from you. So Lilimon, what Lilimon does is Lilimon sort of brings you all the way to right outside the barracks, Bolo. And then as you dismount, Cardis, who has been woken up by the guards calling for him, bleary-eyed, is stumbling out of the front and says, "What's going on?" And just you hear this poof, and falling to his knee is Lilimon behind you, and kind of breathing heavily. And so Cardis is sort of like, what? He's like, "What is going on?" He says to you, Bolo, and generally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I come on a very important mission, and I'm also like trying to take care of Lilimon at the same time.
Yeah.
I've come from Lord Gunvar's estate, and I sort of tell him the story of
Okay, so you
going
like,
out
there's
there.
too much. Let me sum up. All right, so you go through the whole thing.
I mean, it's a somewhat long story, but I try to summarize quickly and say he's on the move. I believe he's heading this way, although I'm not positive of that. But he's definitely making a move against Bard.
On the move, and he says, "Gunvar," and some of the guards around are all murmuring to each other as you've been telling him the story, and he says, "All right, first of all, you," and he waves to a couple of them, "see to the horse. That thing is important. That beast there is no mere ordinary beast. It must be taken care of. You understand me? And so 3 people kind of rush over and they start kind of petting him down. Lillimon is eyes are closed, breathing but not moving at the moment.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, he starts summoning, and soon there is dong 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 dong, and alarm bells are ringing out all over Dale. As the alarm is up and lights begin to, there were already lights, but more lights begin to spring up. People rushing here and there, and Cardis says to you, Bolobras Took, you have once again served Dale, as the rest of your party always does. But I must ask, I must attend now to mustering the men. What will you do?
I must go to Balin if I can find him and give him.
Everyone thinks Balin is dead.
And he's like,
Oh.
Balin, but he's dead. He looks at you completely perplexed.
Dead? Are you serious? I forgot that he didn't know.
Make a deception check for me, please.
Oh, he does know.
He stopped
totally
with us
knows.
on the way back.
Oh yeah,
to Battered
Cardis.
Mug.
Cardis, I think, does know, right? Or
No,
Cardis
Bolo.
Bolo. Well, no, Bolo knows.
stopped to talk
Bolo
with Balin
certainly
on the
knows.
way back to the Battered Mug. So he knows that-
Yeah,
Bolo
Bolo
totally
certainly
knows.
knows.
That Balin is
But I think he would have forgotten. So yeah, I need a deception check because he needed.
Yeah, because we had that discussion.
Yeah.
What
Balin? You say dead? How is that? How could that be?
Yeah.
No, Barlin. Barlin.
Barlamen, Butterbur. You know him? He's a innkeeper. Okay. Oh no. All right. Let's see whether he would.
I totally buy that this is like a mistake Bolo would make.
Yeah.
Is
So he says.
delicious.
So he looks down at you and he says, "It appears that there's more going on here than we expected. I think you may know more yourself, if I may say so. But now is not the time for that. I certainly don't know where he is except in his tomb, but if you know anything different, you can head off in that direction." His eyes look at you a little narrow, like, and he's like, "But for now I must muster my men. Feel free to go where you must, but I would ask that you at least remain within shouting distance if we need to find you. It may be that your services will be needed once again."
I will.
The door slams behind him as more soldiers pour out of the barracks.
Okay.
Okay. So
red faced. I head
Excellent.
off to.
Excellent. Oh
so
my
Bolo
God,
heads
it's
off. I wish the guy who was here before, the Talas the thing about the flaws. This is what we were talking about. This is why this is fun. Okay, they head off this way. In the meantime, the 3 of you have not been idle, as they say about Fatty Bulger. They were not idle. So the question is, what were the 3 of you doing? Because I assume it wasn't staying around at the location at the Ashbrook. So where were you going instead? I also need to do music that fits this better.
I imagine we
I
would
guess we would have tried to search Gunvar's office, whatever, to find any written proof of what he was doing. Maybe any letters that he exchanged with people or something.
Okay, so you're doing that, not trying to follow tracks or anything. You're just you're gonna find the stuff.
I don't know if that's a thing, if that realistically makes sense.
I feel like we probably would have done that while talking to the servants, getting our weapons, talking to the servants about plans, finding his office. I feel like that probably was the same sphere of activity. But I also tell me how you guys feel. 'Cause I think that. I mean, wait, do we know? We kind of got a sense of how many men he has with him, right? Because they all kind of surged into the hall.
Yes, probably around 30. Not a large force, but well armored.
Right. So I guess the question is how much do we think we could feasibly do against 30 people? We've taken 30 guys before, right?
Yeah, at the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So there's that question of if we chase them, what are we gonna do with them? Are we just harrying them to slow them down? That sort of thing. So that's the kind of thing I feel like we'd probably want to discuss. But I do think that we'd have probably searched his office.
Yes, I would agree with that take. Yes, I think you would have.
Conversely.
Yep.
given how well prepared he has been in dealing with us and everything else, and how much he's kept the servants explicitly out of everything, I don't think we're going to find very much.
Fair.
Right, and that was pretty big. Pretty much, that's the second time, Trent, you said something. I'm like, that's pretty much what I was going to say. Yeah, there is not a lot there. The other thing I would point out is that you actually don't know where they're going yet. So, you know, there is that question. So as Bolo goes sort of furiously galloping off into the night, yeah, you would have already seen. Now, admittedly, the house is not tiny, so there could be, you know, you could take the time to, you know, toss every mattress and, you know, like you could do that if you wish, but that is going to take hours to do, even if you had the help of all the servants to do it. The obvious sort of desk and stuff like that in his office, so to speak, you've already looked at, and pretty much that's correct. There's not much to be found there. There are certainly references to general payments, but a lot of that just looks like it could be, here's what you need to run a manor house, you know, like which you would have seen anyway. And some of those may be payments to individuals doing nefarious things, but you won't be able to figure that out, you know, in a short period of time.
Right.
And I don't care how hard he tries, you can't keep everything from the servants of the house. They know what's going on, and if they are that intimidated and they don't know what we're asking of them, he doesn't have it there.
Yeah.
It ain't there.
So if we are pursuing them, like, you know, just, I mean, our general goal is just stop Gunvar somehow. So it seems like chasing them down and rallying Dale is probably the best that we can do. So, because my fear was actually that he was going after dwarves, that he was actually going to, like, attack some dwarven settlement in Erebor or something like that.
Bypass Dale
Try
completely.
to get into Erebor. Try attacking Erebor with 30 men. Good fucking luck.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That guy doesn't seem that stupid, so.
It turns out, anyway. I have a
But there are quite a few dwarves who are helping to rebuild Brokenstone right now who could make very good targets.
Yep.
So we're gonna chase him down.
Yeah, as well as we can on foot. So you said like regular riding was 1 hour, right?
That is, well, to get back to Dale, depending on if
Yeah.
that's where you're headed, then yes.
And
So
walking?
walking would take probably twice as long, unless, you know, I know all of you are aware of the journey of the companions to try to track down Merry and Pippin. You know, I'm just saying you could.
Run.
No, that hasn't happened yet. We have no idea what you're
I
talking
know, but I'm saying if you want to set up what will obviously be stolen by later.
They were right. They
parties,
were inspired by
Yeah,
what we were
exactly.
about to
Right.
do.
Thank
exactly.
you.
Have you heard the tale of the three? Yeah. So yes, you could run and follow the path. Now, you do not have, with all respect, an Aragorn style tracker, but you do have people who can certainly track.
Excuse me?
Amongst
Hello?
you. I stand by my statement. As much as I respect.
And these
much
are
I respect
known
all of you.
lands to me. Don't
That's
forget
true. Oh, no, absolutely. You will get benefits for that for sure.
that.
So, all right. So if you're doing that and you're heading down those tracks, also it helps that the tracks are not very well. I mean, they were clearly not trying to conceal him. So, let's have Inga.
These tracks are single file.
Also,
Yeah.
like I as a player don't know about how the landscape is there, but like since we are on foot or not, and not on horseback, we might be able to traverse through areas where horses
correct.
couldn't.
That's correct. Yes.
So
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, and what I'm going to do is, as you're in the process of doing this tracking, which is basically going to be investigation, you'll be doing it at advantage because of the known land situation, Inga. Because of that, that is going to take into account what happens. And the way I'm going to basically play it is, I'm going to have you do a few checks. As you do these checks, successful checks will allow you to basically find shortcuts that may shorten the time between you and them. As you said, you can go places the horses can't. But if you fail in any of these checks, it means you have lost the path temporarily and need to come back to find it. So that's basically the idea. So I'm going to ask you to make 3 of these checks, but go ahead, River, you were going to say.
I was going to say, can River and Stone assist?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
I will. Although, since she's already doing it at advantage, there's not a lot to assist on. I guess what I'll say is,
DC.
yeah, that's a little too much. What I'll do instead is I'll go the other direction. I'll give you advantage and +2. So +2 checks with Stone and the river doing this. And
Just because they're following horses, so he's probably sniffing the horses.
So what did you want me to do?
so I'm going to ask you to make 3 checks, and I'm going to be
Yeah.
asking you to make investigation checks, but at advantage.
+2.
3 investigation checks, yeah?
Correct.
So that's a 12.
14.
+2, so 14. Yep.
14.
That would be a
Save.
10. Okay.
Ah,
There you
yeah,
go.
natural
All right, so you're fortunately for you, those last 2 sort of cancel themselves out. So generally, you do pretty well, I think is the way to put that. As you run over hill and over dale, not the city dale, but other dale, to dale, but maybe not, because as you are following these tracks with Inga in front, I have this image, Inga. You tell me how you look as you're running along. Like, what does Inga look like as she's running along, following the tracks? Like, how are you looking in terms of the way you look on the ground? Are you kind of like paying attention to your companions? Are you waving them ahead? Like, what are you? What do you look
no,
like
she's
you're
like basically running at a distance, but like occasionally like turning around, checking that they're still behind her.
doing? Okay.
And I'm assuming she would also be carrying a torch or a lamp.
Yes.
Something like
That's
that,
fine.
so that the others can see her because she can see. But
Yep.
the rest can't.
And again, I mentioned this sort of the silence of the land around you. But yes, you do this. But as you go, Inga, you can increasingly feel a sense of dread beginning to fill you, because there is you're very familiar with, there is an area that is to the northeast, basically, of the Lonely Mountain. And as you follow, the tracks are definitely not heading towards Dale. They are heading directly towards Erebor. The groups are heading in that direction. And so you are, I don't know what you do after how it becomes clear to you that that's where we are headed, but that you figure that out probably about 15, 20 minutes or so into it. It's very clear to you you're not heading towards Dale.
Okay, so I guess still the smartest move here would be to go to Dale anyway, because then we can get horses there and we can send a messenger bird from Dale to there.
Just be clear, if you head to Dale now, though, that's gonna use more time. Like if you go down to Dale when you're already 15 minutes in the other direction, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to go back and then down again, head south.
We can always spare another member, I suppose. Like,
Right.
River could always head that way, but.
And I don't mean to railroad you, by the way. You can do whatever you want. I'm just letting you know this is stuff that Inga would know as you're going through. That's all.
My question would be like, can Inga tell from the way that we've been following the tracks and the shortcuts that she's taken whether we can get to Erebor before them?
Before them, no. But you can you probably, based upon the sort of freshness of the track, which is getting slightly more fresh as you go along, you think that the shortcuts Inga has been taking is closing the gap. But with men on horses, plus the fact that they had some lead time on you, they're going to get there before you get there. But you are closing the gap, so you may not get there all that long after they do. But if you turn to go back to Dale, no way that you'll be able to get there. They'll have done whatever they're doing a long time before you arrive.
So what I would suggest is that actually Tawny, who has Bard's ear the most, and who is if we now have a sense that no, they're not attacking Dale, they're attacking Erebor, and Dale is already mustering, that it might make sense for Tawny to sheer off and head towards Dale and get folk to bring them while we continue the chase, essentially.
Moreover, traveling on foot is nothing. A bird will get to Erebor long before they do.
Yes. And if Balin does have a raven friend. So there is also that. Obviously we know that Volo is gonna talk to Balin, but we didn't have the information that he's heading to Erebor. Balin might intuit that based on what he knows of Gunvar, but we can't be sure of that. So either way, this might be the thing to do.
Agreed.
Okay, so your plan then is to do which?
And Tawny to Dale.
Yes.
Okay.
And River, Stone, and Inga to Erebor.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna send Tawny.
Play the song.
You peel off
appropriate.
and head. You peel off and head south, basically, back towards Dale, running as fast as you can. Which I imagine a Bjorning at top speed can run pretty damn fast, if needed. And certainly
88
has
miles
long
an hour.
strength. Yes, really. Is that clearly in the monster manual right there, I think.
Yes.
So you're making this, rushing as you do.
All I got to do is smoke a little bit of cattail and,
Suddenly jet fuel, is that what we're saying?
well, I can run for 3 days and not stop.
All right, so you're doing this as you run across the landscape again, the silent, kind of ominous, imposing landscape as you run towards Dale. I want to jump back to Bolo quickly and then back to Ing and the river. Bolo, when you arrive at the place where you have met Balin before, where he's been hiding out, you notice that the room, the windows, and so forth are completely dark, and I don't know what you're do. Or do you like hammer on the door? Like, what do you do when you arrive there?
It's like a manor type place.
Well, more like a small house within other groups of houses set in that section of Dale.
So the lights are dark. I'm just gonna do a circuit around the house and literally peek in the windows and see if
Complete darkness at every window.
Okay. I will try the door.
Okay.
Not knock. I will just.
Door is locked.
Okay. I didn't pick my skills till until later, but I do have lock picking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think. Well, so do I have a set of lock picks? I mean, I would have had.
I would think so.
But,
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think so.
I'm going to try to pick the lock. I know
Okay.
it's dark, but.
All right, let's do it. Let's have you make. Does it have a lock
Have you
picking?
tried knocking?
He is not yet, but you are not there, Inga. So, the
Just asking.
let's see. I want to make sure that there's no. Right, there isn't a lock picking skill. Maybe.
That would be usually tool proficiency.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. But. Okay,
I
right. So
guess
thieves
just
tools.
Do,
Thieves tools.
20 plus your proficiency bonus.
Yeah,
Right?
thieves tools you might just be able to click on thieves tools actually, but let me look.
Well, if he has them added to his character sheet, that's a question.
He does. Yeah, proficiency. It's there. See if you can click on that, and if that will roll it for you. I would say.
What am I clicking on?
Bottom left of your sheet. There's a thing that says other proficiencies and languages. See if thieves tools clicking on it does it. See if it does.
Okay.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. All right. So then, okay, there's a way to do that, but that's fine. So what we will say then is that would be dexterity plus your thieves tools would give you proficiency, so doubled for any ability check. So yes, you're going to make a dexterity check, and you're going to add to it 6 because it's double your proficiency bonus for this.
Okay. So it's essentially the same as acrobatics.
Right. Yep.
For me.
I guess so. Yeah, because yes, that's right.
Same level.
Same business.
Oh, critical failure. Yay.
Well, see, if this were regular D&D, you'd be able to do a halfling luck thing, but I don't think you have that in Adventures Middle Earth. So, unfortunately, you're like, oh, it's dwarven workmanship. Seems to be pretty well, barred against your entry. You are not able to pick the lock, but it is definitely locked, intended to not let people get in. For whatever that's worth.
Are there other windows?
There are windows, sure. A couple of them, not a lot, but there's a couple.
Yeah. All right. I don't want to. I probably can't make it through the door. I don't want to. Well, I will try this first. I will literally I'll just knock on the door.
Okay.
That's a more normal sound than breaking a window. So I'll see what happens.
No
with that
response.
First. Okay. I'm gonna break a window.
Okay.
As soundlessly as I can. Take some cloth or something and kind of.
Okay, and you do. You're able to do that.
Reach in, unlatch it, and I just want to gain entry.
Okay. When you enter the door, you find enter the window. You can find that the room in which you've often met Balin is dark. Moreover, the hood that Balin was wearing is gone from its peg by the door, as are all armor and weapons. Balin does not look to be here.
Okay. When we were here, were there other people with him, or was he alone?
Just him. He was alone.
Well, I will look around for signs of struggle.
Okay. No, it looks like you don't find that you can do even without a check. It looks as if I mean either someone who took him with like incredible like ability to conceal it, or there what he intended to leave, because there's no extra like leftover mugs on the table or anything. Everything looks cleaned away. The fireplace even is dark, and been clearly cleaned so that there's no recent ashes of a fire or anything like that.
Is he? Have we spoken about the battered mug? Like and that as
Yes,
like sort of meeting place
you
or
might have
something
mentioned
like
it to him. Yes, I think he would. I
I'm-
think
I'm
he did
just-
mention it. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave a note that says, "Please find me at the battered mug."
Okay, and then you're gonna head over that way.
Well, I don't think he'll find it soon.
So just for the future, I see. Okay.
Yeah, just as a way in case he comes back.
Okay. So where are you
I'll
headed
put
now?
I'll put important quickly. Find me at the battered mug, and then I guess I will head over to the battered mug and just say, there may be a dwarf coming by. If I'm not here when he comes, just have him wait. And I assume this is like an inn sort of tavern place.
Mhm.
I'll just say, just have him stay here, and I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay. All right. And then once you've done that, then you're gonna head from where after you've told them.
I go back to find Cardis, I suppose, because he'll probably be
Okay.
a meeting point.
Seems
A moving
logical.
meeting point.
So we will have you do that. The camera zooms out, up and out over the wall, past some distance away, past the running figure of Tawny, who's frantically running towards Dale, and then continues.
Lord of the Rings movie War Drums are playing.
Yeah, exactly. Dun, 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 yeah. And cuts back to Inga and the river, who have been following the tracks, continuing to follow the tracks up until you find yourself on the northeastern side of the Lonely Mountain. And something very unusual, Inga, which you immediately notice when you get to this side of the mountain. And let me see if I can quickly find the definition.
If there's I don't want to make you change the map if you don't have to and stuff, but I'm having some difficulty remembering, like, this is all northeast of Dale?
Yes, and I can actually change the map. And it is northeast of Dale, yes.
You see the flame of a dragon approaching.
Yeah, great. Okay, so let me zoom us all in.
He looks green and diseased. Oh, it's Raynar. Okay.
Okay, so
Wait, but he doesn't have wings, so.
so
Yeah, that's why it's so weird. Anyway, go
we're
ahead.
talking over this. We're talking over this way. Okay, so the northeastern side of the mountain. And as you get, as you follow the tracks up and over, Inga, you come to a spot where you can actually see the mountain, looms before you, not that far away. But you can see below you in this narrow valley with which you're very familiar, both because, you're from Erebor, but also because you're familiar with the lands in general. And you notice that in the narrow valley, there is this field of what is called scree, which is basically like loose stones that is covering this valley. That is not what normally is here. You don't remember stones covering a valley nearby the Lonely Mountain. The stone that exists on the mountain falls, first of all, right next to it, not covering a valley. This looks, you would almost be certain, as if it would have to be placed there. And as you are noticing that it must be placed there, I need you to make a perception check for me, please.
I get any bonuses on that because.
Sure, because of known lands and your knowledge of Erebor, sure.
Yeah, so what?
So advantage. So perception at advantage, I would say. This you can't get an assist on from Stone in the River, though. This is your own knowledge.
Recommend rolling a natural 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
same.
That'd be solid.
Perception, you said, yeah?
Yes.
An unnatural.
Hey.
20 at least.
Hey, hooray! What?
As
Love it
you
when you take our advice.
as you look down, you can see slightly that there is this fissure in the mountainside. At one time, it probably, in fact, you're almost positive
Sure,
that it
fissure.
was It was a fisher. Yeah, Fissure, like a big.
Oh, I was like a dude with a.
I was totally imagining.
No,
you
fisher guy with the
watching
fisher. No.
Someone fishing.
I'm hearing,
Fisher.
look,
Yeah,
look.
look. No, not that either. Okay, our vocalist joke. So the as you're looking down at this, it is a fissure, a gap in basically in the stone. And you remember, Inga, that there were some of these that were used by the dwarves that were built into the side of the mountain to vent gas. When you're mining and you have gas that builds up over time, these fissures would be built by hand so that gas would have a place to escape and not poison all the dwarves when they're working on mining. This looks like the stones are covering that over because you can just see light peeking through one set of stones right near the mountain. In other words, if you had to guess, a fissure, which is usually much smaller than this, has been widened to allow access. And as you realize that, Inga, you realize something else much more troubling. The only creatures that would have the ability to widen a fissure to allow access to an invading force are dwarves. And that is where we're going to bring our session.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I got to this. I was so excited to do that ending.
Oh, no.
Man. So awesome. So we've got Tawny running to Dale, Bolo running from, from the battered mug trying to find Cardis, and then we've got Inga in the river and Inga being like, son of a, and roll credits. Like, that is basically
The treachery was coming from inside the house.
the call, yeah, exactly. The fissure was coming from inside the house. Really, really awesome session. Oh man, so much fun. I cannot wait to see how this, because you're closing in on the end of this little sub part of the adventure of Hammers and Anvils. I can't wait to see how it comes together. Wonderful stuff from the crew. I will start, as with usual, at the bottom of the column.
Who's working with them?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Oh, ooh.
Well, because we know that there are tensions between the dwarves, right? We know that there are.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't
but
just the
like,
humans who had problems, yeah.
That was what's the name of that legendary smith?
I could tell you, but if
Fucking
you...
races.
Sniping.
It's sniping, yeah.
Sniping, yeah. Probably
Sniping, more like.
Betraying his own people? Would he do that? Anyway.
Is he really?
Well, technically not his own people. It's the Erebor.
Yeah, see, there's multiple. Yeah. Anyway, I will begin at the bottom of the column. Really good stuff today, Amal. I love the idea of you doing the lock picking over with the song covering it over, and I also love that this session everyone got to be like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that. And so we got a lot of that, including your ability to pick a lock and do this stuff. How did you feel about what was a pretty active session today, and where will the lovely folks find you next?
I loved this so much. I had so much fun. It was like, in some ways they felt almost like an embarrassment of riches of, knowing that Inga can open the doors, knowing that Bolo can like melt into the darkness and also burgle keys, and like knowing that River had like, I'm really glad that she kept that belt dagger actually and stuff, and which she's never gotten to use before. So I totally want her to give it a name that is something like lockpick or needle or something
nice,
like that.
Nice.
No, lockpick.
I think she said that, right? Was that
Lockpick, yeah.
Lockpick, yeah.
Lockpick. Oh, I like that.
Lockpick.
Lockpick.
I think that's great.
That is good.
So I love that that specifically got to combine. Like I don't think it would have worked as well if like they hadn't been in darkness and she hadn't been able to call on Elbereth and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like just the layering of a whole bunch of stuff that came together that like I just loved it. I thought it was super fun, and we haven't had a session like that in a while because we've been like on the trail of information, and so actually having had the bad thing, one of the bad things happen and have to deal with it was really fun. So I just super enjoyed this. I love Tommy like just cussing up a storm at this hapless, pathetic guard. And I loved Inga getting to the bucket situation. It was super great.
That was great.
I'm so happy I failed that role so critically.
Yeah.
opening the door squeak, and it just everything came together so nicely. I really loved that. I really hope that the coming together stuff happens again, because I sure thought we were splitting the party for only a small amount of time. But, oh
Yep.
well.
What? In this game?
Yeah, I was gonna say it wouldn't be a session if it didn't involve people being like, "We will go to the following 4 different places."
I kept, I just, anyway.
To
at
be
least-
fair, though, the whole like splitting the party, that is very theme appropriate, considering that happens a lot in the novels.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's true.
Oh yeah.
It's also like I like the fact that Tawny does actually now have the information to connect to things. So like Tawny could actually bring Bolo to the place that they need to go and stuff. And so we have a path towards reunification, which hopefully will be the case for the dwarves and the men as well. But anyway, so that's me. I had so much fun. I was riveted this whole session, which is always the case.
Riveted?
Oh, cute. Cute. Notice that it treads with the ultimate smug. Like,
badness. But anyway, yeah, I super loved it. I just enjoyed everything about it. So in terms of where I'm going to be, I actually have a sort of giant, I'm excited about this announcement, which is I have recently become a playwright for sort of the first time since I was like 15, 16. Anyway, I have there's something called the Ottawa Fringe Festival, and it is usually a lovely in-person theater festival for a lot of independent theater people to kind of just mount their own shows. 100% of the box office sales go to the artists and stuff like that. With the Panini, we obviously are not having it in person, but there is a virtual version of it, which it's not original to me, but I have totally been using it.
I love it.
But the point is that like what is exciting about this is, okay, a few things. What is challenging about this is that all these theater people have suddenly had to turn into film people because the festival asked them to record their performances and basically put them in a fringe vault for on-demand access during the festival. Okay. So when you buy a ticket to a show, you're buying a ticket to a recording of a show that's available on demand for like 7 days after you purchase it. But the cool thing about this is that this means that people who normally would not have been able to travel to the festival or would have not have to cross borders and stuff can actually see it from anywhere on their own time in any time zone.
Yeah.
And I'm just super, super excited about both people getting to experience the Fringe more broadly, which is something very, very dear to my heart. But also that I am so excited about this show. The show is basically 3 monologues that were written by me, Kelly Robson, and Alex Della Monica, who are 2 other science fiction fantasy authors who are super, super brilliant. And each of the monologues has been performed by our actor friend, Margot McDonald, who is also just super brilliant, has been acting for like 30 years, is a genius. And the show is called Dressed as People. And it is 3 different monologues on the theme of uncanny abduction. So there's one that's a ghost story, which is Kelly's, terrifying. One that is to do with scary fairies and fae abduction, which is mine. And one that is to do with strange encounters on the open sea, which is Alex's. And each of them has been written to be like delivered to a camera. So like the circumstances have been taken into account for creating this show. And I'm obviously super biased, but I genuinely think it's an amazing show, and I really, really want people to see it. So tickets are $15 Canadian, and I'm going to drop the link into the chat. Oh, it's already been. Hey, thank you so much, Rising Tide. I am just.
Thanks,
I'm super hopeful that people like it. The other link I want to drop in is we are having sort of premiere after party cocktail night as a Zoom event. So I haven't actually announced this yet, so you are getting like the primo announcement thing. If you want to join us, you can take this link, which I am about to give you, to register for our after party. and we will have a cool Zoom session together and stuff. So this is the opening night cocktails thing. We're also hoping, we're figuring out the logistics of this, but we're also hoping to have 3 events that are kind of like tea and talk with the 3 different spheres of production. So the writers talking to each other, the actor and director talking to each other, and the production sound design people talking to each other in sort of Q&A sessions that you can attend and ask them questions about the show and stuff. Ideally, you'd have watched it already and not be spoiled as a consequence. But I really, really would love it if people gave it a shot, especially because just the past, year and a half has been so hard on theater folks with everything being canceled and inaccessible.
Yep.
And it's a really, really great way of supporting some local theater and also just like getting to see some really great shows. I think there are only 15 shows at the whole Fringe, and you can get like a 5-show pass. So you can actually see almost the entire Fringe if you want to, which is not feasible normally.
Right.
Normally there are like 60 shows.
I've covered the Fringe for a long time for theater stuff for New York, and and they kind of, that Fringe has got, they made some mistakes. So I'm glad that they're not making the same mistakes. So yeah.
So that's me. Oh, the one last thing. I'm sorry, I know I've been talking forever. But I'm also going to be doing a Brooklyn Public Library event tomorrow evening. So tomorrow evening, Max Gladstone and I are going to be chatting together about This Is How You Lose the Time War under the auspices of the Brooklyn Public Library. And there is an event page for that also, which I will just drop into the chat as well. If you want, this event is free. So if you just want to see us chatting about that, you can come to this. And that also will be cool. That's tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern time.
And while we continue on through the rest of the stuff, Amal, you might be able to answer Atham in chat.
Yeah, I was
whether
going to
it's
mention
coming
that.
to Edmonton Fringe.
So like basically, I'm not sure. So normally, for those of you who don't know, in Canada, the Fringe Festival is a kind of rolling event that goes across the country, so that in normal times, like one team could, start a show on the East Coast and then like tour it across the country and hit every Fringe in every major city. So like they usually coordinate that way. I have no idea how much coordination has happened between different Fringes during this. So I think the idea is like at the moment, the plan is just to keep it virtual, but we are really, really hoping to develop it into an in-person show in the after times, at which point it would definitely head out there. I think Margot, so if you are in Edmonton, you might know Margot McDonald from her incredible show, The Elephant Girls, which is a one-woman show that she did about this group of like 40 thieves, like these female thieves in London. They're called the Elephant Girls because they operated around Elephant and Castle area. So she did a show about them, and it did very well and won lots of acclaim, and it performed out in Edmonton as well. So so I know I can't speak to it right now, but partly, if this is successful under the Ottawa situation, then that makes it more likely that we will be able to do more stuff with it.
Good.
So yeah, thank you so much for indulging my super long spiel today. But that is just it. Otherwise, you can get updates on my Twitter and stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Mal, as always. And yeah, that's really cool. Really, really neat stuff. And we will see you. Oh, and actually, this is a good chance to bring this up quickly. I know you said you have a thing next week, right, Amal, on the 22nd, but you could theoretically do the 29th. So I need to ask, while I have the other 3 of you here, is the 29th doable for the other 3 of you, or would it have to be? It is doable? Okay. For you, is it doable for Brad and for Trent? And no harm, no foul if it's not, because I'm curious whether you could do Tuesday the 29th instead of the 22nd, because that would accommodate Amal.
I don't know. You see, the 22nd is my birthday. So it means we would be missing that. Go ahead.
The 29th is okay on my end, but I have a hard stop at 2. I have an interview on that day.
To your time?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So we would just stop at 3. That's fine. That's technically when we're supposed to finish. We just never do at 3 because we're always having too much fun.
Imagine starting and stopping on time.
No, that's totally fine, Brad. Yeah, Trent, is that cool?
Yes,
birthday's out?
but I
Okay.
was going to say is that the 29th is Matthew Mercer's birthday, so we can do it on his birthday
Ah, okay. So that's what we'll do then. I am going to change that when I get a chance later on this evening. But that means that we're going to have the next session will not be next week then, but will be 2 weeks from now, the 29th, and that way we can have the full crew there. Which means, chat, we'll do the Patreon Field Game of the Month next Tuesday, and I'll talk about that when we get there. Thank you very much, Amal. Moving right up the line. Terry, obviously, there were a couple things. I mean, Inga had a very eventful session between having to unlock, using the magical power of opening lock and closing lock, the bucket on the head, and then obviously the tracking and the revelation plus the fear over what's going on with Lilimon, but also the fear.
Well, she doesn't know that.
She doesn't know that. I know. That's just the player fear. But then also the question about, oh my God, are the dwarves somehow responsible for any of this? So all of that is kind of circulating. How'd you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Oh, this was exhilarating, I think is the correct word. So yeah, that was woof. Yeah, like you said, a lot happened. So, and boy, howdy, can't wait for the next session. So yeah. And like punch, presumably Niping in the face. So that's
this guy, yeah.
So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Yes. Aside from that, people can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Taritoots, where I post art things and sometimes other things. So. Yes, if you like heraldry or cartoons.
And crests.
Fabulous outfits.
Sometimes. Thank you.
I love your goth summer look. It's very good.
Yeah, sometimes I post outfit pictures on Instagram because you are like legally required to, I think. So yeah, that. So yes, that's that. Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. And Effect Life, in answer to your question about when the next game book illustration will be, because you have a slight personal interest in this one as the bot maker, it probably would be, my guess is we're looking at July, because next Tuesday I've got the Patreon game, and then we have AME after that. So my guess is, if Terry's cool with this, July 6th, which is a Tuesday, that'll be like 3 weeks from now, is my guess. So just tentatively, I would say, but obviously we'll know more when we get close to the end of the month. Thank you, Terry. Once we're done with this, go get some rest, but always a pleasure and good stuff tonight as always.
The rest won't help. I'll be tired.
Oh, well.
And I just had a cup of coffee too. So.
Oh, well, feel better and more over time exhilarated, I hope, as time goes on. Yes, I love it.
A trusted friend in science.
Exactly. Thank you for the follow, Kristen. Thank you very much, Terry, as always. Brad, obviously, Bolo, we got to have the Paul Revere Bolo moment. I love the visual of Bolo charging towards the gate with charging towards the gate on Liliman with the guards, like, what are you doing? And like, I must see open the gate. So I was digging that. Plus, also, of course, I thought that we were going to get more out of the key rings, except everyone at the moment was doing their own, like, I'm going to individually pick locks and just like,
well, I'm not going to let Bolo show me up.
you could just be like, Stone would have been imprisoned forever if not for me.
You guys couldn't let me have my moment, could you? No.
I think this happened while you were otherwise occupied, Arv, but like River totally like picked him up and spun him around in pride and stuff. And, like,
oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Yes, I'm so happy for. Anyways,
wait till you find out what he accidentally revealed to Cardis. You'll just be like,
oh no.
How did you feel about today, Brad? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Yeah, it was kind of funny that I shouldn't have been, but I was distracted by the aforementioned like kitchen goings on and stuff. There were some things I had to like take care of.
Yeah.
So like that sort of slipped out quickly, the admission about going to Ballin and stuff. But I like that it sort of fits with who Bolo is anyway.
Sure.
It's, life reflecting game, reflecting life. Yeah, it was a fun session. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all plays out in the next. It's interesting that we heard the horns, but we don't actually know how big his force is. We don't know where he's going, you know. So there's even though it's like this frontal assault, we assume we don't know how it's going to manifest and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Right, and you think it's a frontal assault still because of where you are, but Ing and the River may now be like, wait, this may be like an inside job, you know, sneak them in and then, you know, fall on the enemies type of thing. So yeah, there's a lot to figure out.
We do know that there are about 30 people. I think
Roughly.
Polo would have known not to communicate that to
Yeah,
them.
I would say you'd probably know roughly how many there were that you saw in the room, you know.
Yeah,
so, like,
but we don't know how many they met along the way.
Right,
Or
that's
going to
right.
meet, all
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So
Yep.
Yeah, pretty cool. So in terms of where people can find me, a while back I had this idea for an anthology, and I liked it so much I actually considered for a while like trying to organize it myself, but I fairly quickly gave that up, and I passed it over to Adrian Collins from Grimdark Magazine, and this was, I don't know, over a year ago, and he liked it, and he was going to work on it, and it's finally come around, and it's called The King Must Fall. It's an anthology of thieves, rogues, mages, blackguards, warriors who want to kill their king, their leader, their queen, for whatever reason. You know, so kind of a, you know, loose anthology idea.
Okay.
And that Kickstarter has just hit the Kickstarter site. It's gone live. So I will paste the
cool.
link to that in the chat so people can check it out. It's a couple hours old and it's already very close to funding. So it looks to be an exciting one. I'm really excited about that. So check that out. And otherwise, I'm gearing up for the final book in the Shattered Sand series that's coming out next month. So I'll have more and more things coming up as that approaches.
That's super cool. I didn't notice this before, Brett. Yeah, this is really cool. The King Must Fall. And yeah, 15,370 out of 25,000 with 29 days to go. I'd say you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of stretch goals like normal with backers and monetary, amounts as well for extra authors, and then some potential slush pile entries being added to the mix. So it looks like a really cool mix of authors, and Adrian and Grimdark Magazine do a good job with these. Cover art looks great. Sean King did the cover design, and he's always doing some really nice looking stuff. So yeah, it looks like a good package.
Good stuff. Very awesome. So yes, you should check that out. I will check that out later when I have a chance. But thanks, Brad, as always, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.
And I will just mention quickly, just the last thing. The Shattered Sand series is finishing up, but the story that I'm writing for that, I've written a number of novellas that tie in. They're sort of between the main novels. And the one that I'm going to write for this ties into the very end of the series. So I'm excited to write that. It's not yet written, but I know kind of what I'm doing with it. So it'll be a Shattered Sand story.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah, dig it. I'm looking forward to checking that out. That's cool. Thank you, Brad. Always a pleasure. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Last but certainly not least, Tren, good stuff today also. First of all, the string of curses, which sort of made everything else go. And again, I love the image, which will be a really fun one to revisit in a couple of weeks, of you charging, like running, frantically down over the grass and fields and plains and so forth towards Dale, which is going to be pretty neat. And it's going to be interesting to see how Tawny's, hooks back up with everybody as everyone's, heading in their various directions. How did you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Today was fantastic. I mean, everything just went so beautifully. Even the part that were a complete cluster were just perfect cluster. It was just absolutely excellent. Everything was exactly the way, character-wise, it should have been. It was just delicious. The only thing that didn't happen, really, was that I was waiting for the guard to get to Tawny's cell and then reach for the keys to open the door and realize at that point they were gone.
I thought about that. I might have done that if it weren't the fact that the entire party converged in stealth at once. And I was like, I was like, well,
And so I was waiting. So he starts reaching for the keys and looks down. It's like, oh, are you having troubles finding something below your belt? Well, that must be a common occurrence, you know. And that was the last one I was waiting to just dig in and just waiting for it. But what I figure is that Tawny's going to get back to Dale, and he will now be in place to see Lillemon's condition and just stuff a honey cake in his mouth, which will get rid of any exhaustion he has, and he'll be able to deal with Lillemon and make sure that he's okay. But more importantly, when all this stuff is done, we're all going to go back over there because that guy's still going to be locked in that cage, in that cell, and we're all going to stop at the stairwell, and Tawny's going to be like, now, and everybody in the party just going to start screaming like they're being torn apart. And Tawny's going to start tromping down the corridor till he gets to the last cell with a torch. And he's going to be eating something with raspberry jam in it. So that when he gets there, it's just pouring red stuff out of his mouth. And he's going to be like, where were we? That's, yeah.
I get the impression you don't particularly care for bigots very much, Trent. This is my sense. I don't know why. I just feel like maybe,
I feel like you put a lot of thought into this, and I really admire the granularity with which you have.
Yeah, exactly. It's the granularity is the seeds in the jam.
I was wondering for that. I was waiting for that. Where'll they see you next, Trent?
We're here, actually.
Yes, that's true. I think it'll actually be before AIME. I think is when we're doing the next Eberron session, if I'm not mistaken. So we just premiered Eberron. For those of you who didn't see it, Oracle of War. That's a really, it's going to be so much fun, that campaign. If you want to see Tren playing an artificer who is figuring out various gadgets in an outpost called Salvation on the edge of a magical cataclysm, then you got to make sure you come back and check that out because it's fun. And every player in there is really awesome. So it'll be good stuff.
Who's playing in that?
It is Tren, Rob, and John, so the three from the IMB crew, and then Jennifer Brozek and Marie Bilodeau, who of course Mel knows, they're all wonderful people, and they are also from Emberwind. So we have 2 people from Emberwind and 3 from D&D with IMB.
Marie is local to me.
I'm just like imagining right now, like at some point, like a cameo by TikTok.
Yeah,
we're on.
Right. No, it's right. And they actually and John is playing a Starforge, which is kind of like a Warforged character. So I love the Warforged. Anyway, I got to rise up on out of here because we have another premiere coming up soon. So I can say again.
What has Tren got?
This is part of what
he was working on.
And Erebor is working on. It's part of it's going to be a spanner.
That's really cool.
But it's a camp lantern. Yeah. Oh. And it's solar powered.
It looks like an accordion.
Solar one?
Yeah, it's a solar one.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really like it. This I didn't know it could do, and that came out during our premiere where I was kind of messing with it while stuff was going on with other characters, and it started blinking, and I freaked out. I was like, "Oh no, what is it doing?" So I just kind of leaned in. It was like, "Oh, wait, no, it's not supposed to do that." And it it was good.
It was fun times for sure.
Is that session online yet?
Yes, it is on YouTube.
YouTube's, yeah.
Yes, it is. I highly recommend. It's going to be. I mean, I'm biased, but again, another great group of players. So good stuff. But I got to get rise up on out of here. Thank you so much to the wonderful crew of Adventures of Middle Earth, the Andronauts. Wonderful job as always. Trending Sparks, Brad Bollier, Terry Tunes, and Amal Elmatar. Thank you all so much. Chat, can we get some love for them? Thank you, players. I will see you all soon.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye for now. And that is going to do it for that, but not for us. Now, chat, we got to move because I got to get over. Really, I got to close up shop here very, very quickly. So I'm going to put up ArvBot Plus, which I have been waiting to do. Where is ArvBot Plus? Show me the polls. Yeah, we got the polls. Why is it not showing me that? Oh, there we go. That's why. There it is. All right, chat. So we are doing nominations here for the Chat Chosen Game of the Month, which is probably going to be taking place next Tuesday. So the vote on this is going to be more truncated than usual. I will post about that as soon as I can. My guess is that I'll probably have the final vote be on Saturday. But so which game? This is using Effect Life's ArvBot Plus. So please nominate, 1 nomination per person, no more than that, please. So we've got Rain City. We've got Detective Gallo. What is Detective Gallo? I don't think I know that, Echo. Rain City, we already got the 2. Well, I already got a vote in for that, so I know that Live Suing's got that. That one, I'm not going to do a continuation on that, Marinda. I may do The Longest Journey later on, but that doesn't, it needs to be a brand new game that I haven't tried yet, because otherwise it's kind of against the spirit of what we try to do. Detective Gallo. All right, anyone else? I've got Rain City. I've got Detective Gallo. Oh, that's cool. A Rooster Noir detective investigate a multiple plant murder. Hell yeah. Sign me up. That sounds cool. I will definitely, I definitely like the sound of that too. But Rain City also came really close last time. So there's a part of me that also hopes Rain City gets it because they've just, they keep trying it. So No One Has to Die. Okay, that sounds good. Which one is No One Has to Die, Marinda? Which one is that? And Late Shift? And what's Late Shift? Plant murders. So No One Has to Die and Late Shift. Which one is that, Dragon? And Marinda, what is No One Has to Die? And let me know, please, quickly, because I really got to wrap here quickly and get over to the other one. Oh, that's the prequel to No One Lives Forever. Are you sure I'm going to be able to play it, though, Dragon? Like, is that capturable? Are you sure? I'll trust you, but are you sure? FMB Adventure Crime Caper. Okay, sounds good. And Growl Lancer 2 from Nonstop. Okay. All right, sounds good. Any ones? Oh, you were joking? Okay, very cool, Miranda. Very cool. Overboard. All right. All right, good choices here. So wait, No One Has to Die is a joke? A puzzlish game with lots of fourth wall breaking. Cool, cool, cool. All right, these all sound like good options. Is No One Has to Die a joke, Dragon? Seriously or not? Yes, it is a joke. Okay. No One Has to Die. All right, so let me just move that to this. Okay. All right, there we go. Here we go. I'm going to close off nominations then. And here we go, chat. Let's get your votes in right now, please, as quickly as you can. The top 3 vote getters are going to go into the final vote, which I will close on Saturday. So please get in your votes. And it would be lovely if one of my mods, Dragon or Hillness or Triffid or Rising Tides or Terry, but Terry's exhausted and I want her to go get some rest. But if one of you lovely people could, as soon as this is done, create the sort of link it to the straw poll. Usually Echo does something like that, but then actually linking it to the next command, that would be lovely. There is no game. Wait, what? Wait. What? I don't understand. No One Has to Die was Marin. Okay, wait. All right, stop, hold. Okay, this is why, folks, please let's not joke when we're coming up with names. Like, I really have to do this fast. So let's try this again. Please only say a name if you're serious about it. Please no joking about this, because I'm in a rush. So Rain City, Detective Gallo, Overboard, Late Shift, Growl Answer 2. What else? There is no game is one of them. There is no game. Oh, okay, and No One Has to Die. All right. All right, so Rain City, Detective Gallo, Overboard, Late Shift, Growl Answer 2, There Is No Game, and No One Had to Die. That's it? Those are the choices? So I'm going to try this again. All right, here's the new vote. Let's get this in here, please. Nominations for this. Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood. I see now. You were joking about it being related to... I see. I get it. I'm all clear. Got it now. Okay. So, Rain City, Detective Gallo. Hi, Blackberry Bear. All right. Okay. Love it. Love it. Okay, I'm going to last call this. Even though I know I'm rushing, but I really got to get over to the other stream. So, Rain City, Detective Gallo. No. Okay, so what I need is... we got 2 for Growl Answer 2. Okay. So, going once... Going twice. Okay. Thank you all for making that quick. So The three choices are Rain City, Detective Gallo, and Growlancer 2. That's going into the straw poll. So Rain City, Detective Gallo, and Growlancer 2 are going into the straw poll. Remember, you're going to need to vote on the straw poll, and the winner of that straw poll, thank you so much for doing that, Echo. If Dragon or one of the mods is able to link that to the next game command, that would be really lovely. So that's going to be great. Rain City, Detective Gallo, and Growlancer 2 are your choices, and you can make that vote, which would be great. Thank you again, Effect Life, for ArvBot Plus working as always. And let's see. So we're going to close that out. Yes. Okay, good. And all of a sudden, super blur. There we go. All right, lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Lone Wolf. But we need to kind of do this quickly. Okay, I'm going to head on out of here, folks, because I really have to get going because we got something awesome happening, but we do have to make sure that we actually make it happen. So if you like what you saw and heard today, please follow the channel. Check the YouTube with !ArvTube, Discord with !ArvCord, Twitter with !ArvTweets, website arvanelleron.com, !ArvShop, !ArvTrayon for the Patreon, !ArvShop for the shop, for the merchandise area, and of course, sub to the channel as a few of you did today. That would be lovely to resub to the channel to get those custom sub badges and emotes and all that good stuff. Icarus for my Icarus graphic novel, Library for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, and Grayshade KS for details about my Grayshade Kickstarter. As always, BLM for Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives, and Help Now for the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. That's it for me. Stop by in about 15 minutes over at 4 p.m. Eastern when D&D with GOG will be premiering Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Very exciting about that. I'll see you folks over there. Otherwise, we'll be back on this channel on Thursday night for the amazing Community D&D Shadow Crew with more Dragon of Icespire Peak. Otherwise, I'll see you over at GOG. Thanks, everybody, and much love. Everyone, nope, that's not it. There we go. Everyone be good to each other, and bye for now.